everyone, and welcome to Nerd Rage Gaming League Challenge. And today we have our last chance qualifier for our league series. And my name is Dan Hugar. I am here with Brian DeVeza. And dude, we got a fun series for us today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you were saying, it's going to be the last chance for anybody who comes in the store today to get their auto invite or just their invite in general for our invitational event they'll be having next month. So there's a lot on the line here for today here as well. So, there's going to be a lot of great games here.
I completely agree. It is going to be a very interesting tournament. And we are starting off with a great game with Alex playing Zorark versus Michael Davidson, Portland Regional Champion, playing Gardevoir.
Yeah, fresh off the big Portland dub, and Michael's back at it again, and it seems to be a similar build to what he played over the past weekend. I see some TM Evos in there. So it seems to be a pretty similar build he got here.
And I think, honestly, if you win a regional, you tend to just run the list back in the next couple
definitely.
days. So looking at this matchup, we have Zorark, not with Bridge, not with anything else, just Zorark versus Guardy. I gotta imagine Zorark's favored into this matchup, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I know, like, going into Milwaukee, I was testing this matchup a little bit with, some of our local buddies, like, Colin and all of them, and it's a tough matchup for Gardevoir. Yeah, so
why is it so tough?
it's definitely tough for a couple of reasons. One of the big ones is that Zoroark is a dark type Pokemon, so being able to easily knock out pretty much any of the psychic type Pokemon that Gardevoir EX runs is very easy, as well as in this current format, there's no Shaman yet, so no bench barrier or anything like that, no Shaman to protect any of the little guys on the bench, so that Darmanitan's attack, that's not Darmanican, unfortunately.
It is not Darmanican, and
Yes.
there actually is some bench protection.
There
that we'll
is
get to in a
now.
second,
Yes,
because
there is.
first, I want to say hi to Christian Fontenot
Yes.
in the chat, who actually got top 4 at
Yeah.
Portland. And Christian, are you still in North America?
Yeah, big Chicago dub.
Yes.
For just the area in general.
And
Yeah.
Christian lives in Denmark, whatever. We're gonna call him a local here.
Yeah, we claim him here.
Yeah, Christian, come see us. We
Yes.
are having fun in Chicago. So, but Michael does actually have one resource,
That
and
is
that's
true.
Relor.
The Rellor and the Rabska.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So Rabska has is it Rabska's the baby or the big one?
Rabska's a big one.
So Rabska has the ability that prevents any damage or effects from attacks done to Michael's bench from your opponent. And that shuts off that Darmanic Cannon, which it really should be called.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, looking at Michael's board now, he starts to have some of those pieces he needs. So he did have the Poffin that could have grabbed the Rellor if that was in the deck. But he does have the TM Evo, so attach with the Evo and should be able to get double Curlia here.
And I mean, that's still really good, because even if Alex does take a 2-prize knockout here, Michael's going to be able to respond with a Gardevoir if he wants to.
Yes.
And Styx, I would have loved to have you up here. Would have been awesome to see you. And Davidson's pretty good at Pokemon.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Definitely.
All right, so we watched Michael do his turn. Now for Alex, what are they trying to do in this turn, Brian?
Yeah, so pretty much just trying to get this Reshiram out of the active. It's kind of a tough Pokemon to keep in there. If Alex is able to get something like, a Gust or a, another energy onto the board, it could definitely lead to an easy prize on one of the Curlias, but even knocking out the Drifloon will be a pretty good lead that they could get.
And I mean, that's still good, because Michael certainly can go and get it back, but it's more resources. It prevents him from just really quickly responding if Alex is also able to force a rough hand.
Yep, and I really like this Cleffa play, actually. So being able to kind of just thin the hand as much as they can, and being able to just grasping draw to get draw to 7.
And that is, unfortunately, not quite the board Alex is hoping for,
Yeah.
but it's still not bad. We got
Still
the
not bad.
tools to do a really good attack next turn.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and then so for Michael, Brian, walk us through what Michael's doing here. What's his best plan?
Yeah, so what Michael's really trying to do is see if he can get like a double prize turn here, because being able to get something like Monkey Dory down and knocking out that Cleffa could lead to a double prize turn, just because you can put 30 onto the Cleffa and see if you can try to snipe another one prizer off of the board. So Michael was able to get the Gardevoir EX into play now, which allows the Psychic Embrace ability to accelerate energies anywhere on the board. So Michael has plenty of ways to take some big attacks here.
And that I think is a huge deal. Like you mentioned, Zoroark is a big dark type Pokemon, 280 HP, which is hefty, but Michael has a way to get through it. And Alex also has a bunch of moderate HP single prizes with Darmanitan, Reshiram, and that really low HP Cleffa, which, again, like you said, with your wisdom, Brian, that's a real easy mid turn pickoff for Michael.
Yeah, and I think the most ideal way is I'm trying to see if he's able to sequence this out, which he's definitely more than capable of doing. I feel like the most ideal line here is if you're able to, get that Monkey Dory Dark down and see if you can find a way to get like a Screamtail snipe onto that the Darumaka. Yeah.
100%. Because I think the Darumaka truly is the threat for Alex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if Alex is just hitting the active, Michael's going to win that game over and over and over again.
Yeah, definitely. So being able to take that Darumaka out of play immediately is really important. But having the Reshiram also on Alex's side of the board just gives them a very easy attacker that they can rely on throughout the entire game.
And so I think that's so. Actually, we're talking a lot of Alex side. Let's
Yeah.
talk about Michael's side
Yeah.
because I keep getting distracted.
Yeah, definitely.
But so Michael is clearing more energy into the discard, able to get a Dark and a Psychic out. We already have a Gardevoir. We have a Curlia set up
Yeah.
for a response if that gets knocked out. An Ultra Ball to get a Monkey. I mean, Michael's taking at least one, if not two prizes this turn.
And there is another Ultra Ball in the hand, so as long as the Monkey and the Screamtail are in the deck, Michael can get that play off very easily. So we're trying to just take a look at the deck and see what is kind of left there. But seeing apparently from what Michael has here, don't know if we have that Screamtail yet.
And so with the Ultra Ball, we do get the Monkey Dory. We may have an out to Screamtail, but kind of like you said, we could still knock out Cleffa and hit into whatever comes to the active.
Yeah.
But the risk is if we do go in with Gardevoir EX to take a knockout, then it's going to be really easy for Alex to respond.
Yeah,
Oh, and we
definitely.
do see the Screamtail. All right.
There we go.
And now, Brian, let me ask you, do you need to force the two prize turn here?
I don't think you need to force it, but I think it just helps a lot. So we're going to see what Michael ends up doing here. And Michael might not even just go for the Cleffa play here. Might just end up just sniping the Darumaka and just try to take the Cleffa out next turn.
And that was exactly my thought.
Yeah.
Cleffa is stuck on the board. I don't think, you have the deck list actually, but
Yes.
I don't think Alex plays any health modifiers that could protect it. So Michael knows it's a free prize whenever he wants.
Yeah, so I am looking at it right now, and the only kind of like tool or anything like that is the Power Glass and the Defiance Band. So nothing like crazy health modifier wise that
No.
could be used.
But we do actually see Michael say, I'm going to put this
Yeah.
energy on Gardevoir EX, knock out the Cleffa, and then knock out the Darumaka. And so I'm curious with you, Brian. We talked about it. Is this the right call?
I like this play just because I feel like if you end up committing to do this double play, you need to be able to take out the Darumaka just because now it takes off another attacker from Alex's board, and now you can see only 2 Pokemon left.
And that's a big deal because now Alex's options are a lot more limited.
Yes, definitely. So, looking at Alex's hand, they definitely have a lot of pieces to work with. Like there is like a Night Stretcher, the Fez, there's Iono, so a lot of pieces that can be used to kind of disrupt and kind of help Alex kind of set up from here.
And so that Night Stretcher is going to be really important because we have to get Darumaka back.
Yeah.
And also, Alex really needs to find a couple more Zorua.
Yeah, definitely. And in the chat, Mr. Blanks congratulating Michael about the finals. Yeah, it was a really intense one, and we're really glad that Michael was able to bring a big dub into the Chicago scene.
You know, I recognize where I'm sitting. I can only see Twitch. So, Brian, I'm
Yeah.
going to let you manage the whole chat
Yeah,
today.
for
If that's
sure.
all right.
I'll absolutely be able to.
And so we see Alex play that Iono, disrupt, and push Gardevoir EX into the active. And that's a big deal because if Alex finds an energy, this Guardy is gone.
Yeah, and I do like this play a lot just because Alex will be able to match Michael's prize map, at 4 and 4 if the knockout ends up going through. So I really do like this play here. So it's all about just kind of finding that that energy from here. So that nest ball,
And that's
probably grabbing another Darumaka here.
and on the note of that nest ball, that I think actually wasn't correct. So
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
Brian, you tell us why.
Yeah, so I think just because at the state that Alex was putting their board at, just wanting to not manipulate the deck anymore. So the Iono gets 6 fresh cards, there's a trade available, and then there's a flip the script available. So you want to see as many cards as you possibly can. But playing that nest ball, even though it thins cards out of the hand, it manipulates the deck. So, the chances of drawing into that energy naturally just goes down.
100%. And that's exactly it. Is whenever you do something like play Iono, you reorganize your deck, it is really, really important to monitor how it is actually getting set up and
Yeah.
like what the order of your deck is.
Yeah, there's times where it's definitely fine to manipulate the deck, depending on the amount of cards in hand or cards in the deck, period. But at this state of the game, I mean, there's a lot of cards that are there anyways. So trying to keep the deck in the same order, is much more beneficial.
And you can see Alex's expression. Alex
Yeah,
actually missed the energy, and that is
yeah,
huge.
very huge.
And so now Michael's going to get a free turn, going to be able to retreat that energy off,
Yeah, and
which is also a
Michael,
big
yeah,
benefit.
Michael's very, very hyped up about that too because um, this buys him an extra turn.
It does.
So instead of the chance of Alex being able to run over Michael within the next couple turns, now Michael has an extra turn to kind of complete his setup a little bit more and to be able to further his lead.
And I think it seems silly, but having that Gardevoir EX in the active is actually a huge deal
Yeah,
because now Michael can retreat off that energy for free, use Monkey Dory a little more liberally, or put another one down and set up for a even bigger swing turn later in the game, even if he just takes one prize this turn.
yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of ways that Michael can use this opportunity too. Like something that I'm seeing here is like being able to kind of use that Monkey Dory to kind of put damage on the Pheasantipity or put damage on, one of the other Darmakas and just try to set that up for multi-prize turns in the future.
Yes, 100%. And so we do see Michael get 2 energy out of the deck with that Earthen Vessel,
Yep.
playing Arvin just to thin stuff out. Uh, that energy could get manually attached, but to be honest, like we were saying, if Michael has an out to another Monkey in Dark, that's got to be the right
Yeah,
move.
I would agree too. And I think just keeping, oh, this is perfect here as well. Just being able to put more of those psychic energies into the discard just gives Michael way more flexibility to be able to move those energies, put more damage around the board, and use those monkeys more liberally. So I wonder what we're going to end up searching out here. So with the secret box, you're able to search up an item, a supporter, a tool card, and a stadium card. So ideally, you can get like something like the Artisan, you can get a Bravery Charm. Usually the supporters that you're running are either like something like Research, Iono, and then the item could be pretty much anything. Yeah, and Mr. Blanks definitely agree with you as well, saying that Alex should have drawn first with Pheasant Trade and then using the nest ball. So yeah, definitely,
And
definitely.
we are all clearly on the same page here.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
for Michael, I think Michael has a choice here. Unfortunately, I say in heavy air quotes, he's winning. So we
Yeah,
can't do something like counter catcher. We can't
yeah.
try to knock out that Zork very easily. But we can, you mentioned setting up damage on Fez. Michael could just knock out Pheasantipity with Screamtail if he wanted this
Yeah,
turn.
that's true as well. I mean, if you find a way to get the Bravery Charm out, oh, second guard is huge here too. And
Well,
yeah,
and I think Michael got the Bravery Charm with the Secret Box.
yeah,
So we're in a position where we can either reach for the Zoroark, though we're not going to be able to gust it.
yeah.
We can knock out the Fez, or what we can try to do is use Monkey Dory to set up a swing prize turn later, and instead just hit with Guardian, knock out this Darumaka or something similar.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'm definitely leaning towards the Fez play just because there is only one Zoroark on the board right now, so there's not really many opportunities to draw out cards here, as well as there's no Ends Castle down as well, so there's no other way to get that Darumaka out of the active as well. So either way, there's a lot of damage opportunities here for Michael.
And I'd agree. I think that Screamtail attack got a whole lot better with this Darumaka getting stuck in the active. Now,
Yes.
granted, I think Alex plays 3 Ends
Yeah,
Castle.
let me double check that for you. Two.
2. Okay, so there is at least another out to retreat the Darumaka, but this is, and everyone watching, this is why we keep harping on the sequencing stuff. If Alex had hit an energy, they are in maybe not an amazing spot, but a really good spot right now. But
Oh, interesting here.
going for the
Yeah,
Zorua, I
yeah,
don't mind that either.
yeah.
But what do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind it either, just because there is, like what we were talking about, there's no Ends Castle down currently, and even though the Fez is active right now, that's still a liability at the end of the day.
It is. So the one thing that this does enable by leaving the Darmok on the active is Alex could actually just use a reversal energy and use Flame Body Cannon with the Darmaka in the active to knock out Screamtail and Drifloon and kind of force Michael into an awkward position if
Yeah,
he can couple it with an Iono.
yeah, definitely. That is also an option here, and I think that's something that Alex is kind of thinking about here as well.
Which it's probably going to be the least resource intensive thing to do, even though it looks like they have Ends Castle in hand. I mean, at this point, Michael's had 3 prizes. Alex is
Yeah.
not.
Oh, could you update the three?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
for sure.
So Alex does not have a deck that is intended to make big comebacks. It's intended to kind of run you off the board. So it's kind of a tough spot for them.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's definitely an interesting way to approach the board state here now. And I mean, if there's somebody who's able to do it, it's definitely Michael.
I mean,
Yeah,
I completely agree with this.
yeah,
Michael is, obviously, as everyone knows, one of the best players in the game.
yeah,
Just won Portland Regionals. And we were very lucky to have him on Nerd Rage for a while until everyone else realized how good he
yeah,
was and scooped him up off the
yeah,
team.
definitely.
All right, so Alex does use Pheasantipity to draw. We
Yes,
see that energy.
the energy finally.
And we can still use Trey to thin some stuff out and draw. Was that a Bombardier?
Yeah, the Bombardier.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's been kind of one of the staple Pokemon now. I know that Lucas Zing made that very popular after Milwaukee.
That is probably one we can
Yeah,
talk about because that is a fascinating inclusion.
yeah.
But so we do see Alex have a pretty full hand. I mean, Brian, for you, what is the best play?
So I was seeing, I think Alex plays Jacques, so I think Jacques could have been a decent play here as well. Be able to get the Darmanitan, but seems like we're just gonna grab the Turo here, use that to get the um, Zoroark arc into the active as well, and then we're probably looking to. Is there another Gust opportunity maybe?
So I can't quite see their hand. I believe
Yeah,
they play at least 2 countercatcher, but
yeah. I don't know if it's in the. It's up. There we go.
oh, okay, we do see it. But I mean, even if we do reach a knockout, this doesn't feel great.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great. I mean, it would have been great if this happened, a turn ago.
100%.
Yeah,
It would
but
feel wonderful last turn, but alas,
yeah,
Alex is still in kind of a tough position. And Michael has another Gardevoir on the board.
yeah. So that's the big reason too why it's so important is that now Michael can kind of set up the checkmate here.
And we almost see that with 2 Bravery Charms come down, a Professor's Research played, and Michael has a full hand to work with, ton of energy in the discard, Screamtail active with damage on it. I mean, we're just in such a good spot.
Yeah, definitely. And the double bravery charm is super good as well, just because it prevents that full body cannon, flame body cannon attack on the two babies here.
So the only question I have, Brian, and again, Michael's much better than me,
Yes.
is I wonder why he didn't go into the Gardevoir to retreat off the energy and then use the Monkey Dory to
Yeah,
move it.
that's also something that I was wondering as well. But I think the main reason is just probably just knowing what he wants to take out already. Probably not thinking to use too many Monkey Dory pieces here. Um,
The other
yeah,
thing he could be thinking is that he wants to retreat an energy off the Screamtail to knock out the Zoroark with Drifloon.
yeah, that could also be an opportunity as well. That's something that I definitely don't really see, but that's a cool line as well.
It seems pretty good.
Yeah,
If you knock
definitely.
out the lone Zoroark, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Yeah,
And you don't even care too much about the energy getting stuck on Screamtail, because you can Monkey Dory that 3 damage off and fix a lot of math for yourself.
yeah. Ooh, the Mew is also an interesting one as well.
That is. And is that
Yeah.
just Michael protecting against an Iono or something?
It could be. Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking. And it's interesting as well, just because I feel like the Mew has been kind of not really played too much in Gardevoir as of late.
And I would agree. I think there's been a shift towards having those 2 prizers because of their power level, just knowing that Gardevoir is no longer a full single prize board
Yeah.
comeback deck, though it can be. It kind of just murders you. I don't know if that's the PC term, but
Yeah.
it kind of just does.
Yeah, it kind of does. Like, there's definitely some ways that this deck can definitely run you over, and Screamtail and Drifloon are definitely the biggest pieces for that.
100%. And so we go into Alex's turn. Michael is down to a single prize remaining.
And Emily in the chat says, "Guy wins a regional and comes to locals the next week. What a goat!"
Oh, the absolute legend. To be
Yep.
fair, I did motivate him by asking if he wanted cake.
Yes.
So we are not above bribery to get people to come out and hang out with us.
Yes, definitely.
Also, Emily, great to have you in the chat. Thank you very much for joining.
Yes, and great job in the past weekend as well on the casters deck.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we see Alex's turn. We go into Darumaka. We have a lot of stuff in hand. And to be honest, Brian, I feel like we need to see an End Zorark Flame Body Cannon to clear off this Drifloon and Screamtail.
Yeah, and I think Alex has a lot of the pieces to do that. There is attachment and Ends PP up that can be used to power up the Zoroark. So it's all about just kind of drawing into the pieces that we need. And it seems that the deck is starting to get pretty thin now, so there's definitely opportunities to draw into those pieces.
So again, you have Alex's list. Do we play Monkey Dory?
We do play Monkey Dory, yes.
So Alex could win this turn. Do you see the line? Do you see the vision?
I don't see the vision.
Oh, I don't see any damage on the board.
Yeah,
that
that's
hinders
why.
the vision. Yes.
Yeah.
But do we have any way to disrupt tools in the list? I'm asking Brian because Brian is
no.
the keeper of the list right now.
No, like tool disruption or anything. No, jamming tower.
Okay, and so this could be another reason why Michael hasn't tried to use those Monkey Dories to set up damage on the board. It's because he knows he's going to go in with highly damaged little guys, and Alex could take advantage of that to take a big price swing themselves. So, unfortunately, Alex is going to have to rely on just kind of hitting with the Zoroark and hoping that it's enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think it's going to be enough?
I don't think so. I think Michael still kind of has game here, but it kind of you can never count this deck out, I feel like.
And we
Ooh,
do
Iono.
see the Iono, and that is huge. So, with this energy attachment and ideally a crystal on there, Alex is going to be able to take 2 prizes and put Michael in a pretty rough spot, actually.
Yeah, and I think that's also a reason why the Mew got put down is just because now Michael has a way to kind of draw out of it.
Yes. Oh, actually, no, that's a good point. We cannot knock out this Screamtail because we have 140 health remaining, or total on the Screamtail.
Yeah.
40 on there.
130.
100.
Man. Yeah, scoops it up.
And so we missed the Ends Castle. It looks
Yeah.
like we missed a way to retreat. And so, I mean, Michael Davidson, pretty good player.
Yeah, pretty
Yes,
good.
I believe it, Emily. It was
Yeah.
a wild, wild 60-card mirror. All right, so Brian, Michael's pretty good at Pokemon.
Yeah, he is pretty good.
I think we're both pretty good at Pokemon.
I think we're okay.
He's a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with that.
All right, perfect. So why don't we get Michael back here, talk to him a little bit about his run. Would you like to interview him?
Yeah,
Would you
I'll
like
take
me
care of
to?
the interview. Just because I did ask him some questions at the beginning of the season, I kind of want to follow up with him, man.
Dude, Brian is doing
Yeah.
the legwork here, so let me go get him, and
Yeah.
then Brian, I will get you on screen and let you talk a little bit about kind of what we're expecting from the League Series.
Yeah, definitely. So, we'll kind of go over, for the people who haven't really been hearing about it. This is the final week of our League Series, so a lot of our players here are kind of fighting for that final spot. Not really final spot, but just for a spot in the Invitational. So top 12 make it from our normal leaderboard as well. And then top 4 from our challenges. We've had 2 challenges, and we had 1 cup. So if you got top 8 at the cup or top 4 at either one of those challenges, either the last one or today's challenge, you can get yourself a spot in our invitational next month. So so far, a lot of the locals have really liked this league that we've been putting together. So we're hopefully gonna have a really good invitational event. So we can really give back to our local community and all of that as well. So.
And that is
Yeah.
certainly something we are trying to do. And something I am trying to do is figure out how to get your beautiful face on the screen, Brian. So
Yeah.
why don't you go grab Michael while I figure this out and just
Yeah.
talk a little bit about why we're bringing Michael on. So
Sounds good.
we kind of mentioned, like, Michael, pretty good at Pokemon. And he did win the regionals in Portland this past weekend. So, I mean, credit to him. Incredible, incredible results. Honestly, just amazing. Because we all know how hard it is to win at that high level event. Is Zingy Poo here? I'm gonna have to double check. But Labella, thank you very much for joining as well. We will have 5 rounds. Oh, wait, is it 6 rounds? It may be 6 rounds. We're gonna have a lot of rounds of this challenge. And like Brian was saying, the League Series has been awesome. Like, it has been a ton of fun. We've got a ton of like really, really good players who have come out to play, try to qualify. And I mean, just having these guys out here has been a blast. So we have Michael and Brian back here. Michael, feel free to have a seat over there and we will get you on there. And I just had the background up and then apparently lost it because I am so good at managing this. So we're going to transition this on while you guys talk. But Michael, you won a pretty big event.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the small regionals in NA this year,
Oh,
but
come on. Don't down down like that. But congratulations, Michael, first off. Bringing the big dub back home to Chicago. So what kind of led you to switching off of, the typical like the Brixty build to, what you ended up playing with Henry Chow?
well, we never really like thought that deck was like that good.
Mhm.
It has like some stuff. It definitely has like it has a better Goldingo matchup, but
Yeah.
we never felt like that deck really had like any super like significantly more favorable matchups than like any other Guardy list. But
Yeah.
then after like we played the Brazilian list and we felt like we made the list a little bit better, we were like pretty confident
Yeah.
before Portland.
Definitely. And you didn't play Guardy at all this format.
I played it at Atlanta. I played the
Atlanta.
same list as Henry there too.
Okay.
I started 803, but I played really poorly in my round 12 versus like a Dragapult Monkey
Yeah.
Dusknoir, and then I hit Goldingo my last in my winning into 32.
Oh,
So
for
I
sure.
didn't
Oh,
have
that
to.
was the Guardy Zoro, right?
Yeah.
For sure. So, one of the reasons why we also want to bring you back here is so beginning of the season we had you up here, and we were kind of like outlining what some of your goals were for the season and all that stuff. And I remember you were kind of saying that you wanted to improve some of your IC placements, and all of that stuff. So since that beginning of the season, I mean, you've won a regional. So like, what are some of the things that you think you've improved upon, and what do you think you kind of want to improve on to kind of close out the season?
I think I'm like I still really want to get that IC placement. I still
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I have the world's placement, but I don't really have the IC placement that I've been looking for. I guess I this season for regionals at list, I think I've been playing like way better lists.
Yeah.
But and I've been putting in more testing, but still haven't found that IC placement. And I see in chat
Yeah.
they're saying to put Zing on stream, but
Yeah.
they need to know that he dodges a smoke and he went to a different
Oh, man.
challenge. So
Is he in town?
yeah,
Oh,
he's at the
man.
Evanston challenge.
What? Oh, man. Yeah. He didn't come out here? Oh, man. So, hopefully you can get that IC placement, just because NAIC is coming up here. So when you're saying about like playing better lists and stuff like that, what kind of goes into your choice of what to play and what kind of like to cut out, and what kind of text to play and stuff like that?
I mean, the main thing is like if I'm playing Guardy and Henry Chow's going to the regional and like he has like a list, I'll just like play that.
Yeah.
I do think like compared to some of the other lists, I definitely had more input on this list. Like I really pushed
Yeah.
for like some of the last few trainer slots. Like I really wanted to play fourth Ultra Ball,
Mhm.
and we thought that was pretty good. But yeah, I mean the biggest thing is just like when I have the opportunity to kind of listen to people that are better than me and hopefully reap the rewards.
Yeah, definitely. And that's crazy to think about how you're like saying like players better than you and you're already one of the top players in the country. So that was gonna be the next thing I asked too, is like kind of saying like the input and stuff like that. How much of would you say like a percentage of like the input of like the lists that you guys bring to these events would be like what kind of things that you suggest versus like what other players are putting in?
I mean, it definitely depends like what archetype.
Hmm.
I mean, for decks like Gardevoir, like Henry always has the most input,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
for decks like Dragapult, like a Bon or Andrew Hedrick will have like the most input on decks like that. Even Justin, he has
Yeah.
a lot of input. So it kind of depends like what people are most comfortable with. I mean, Bradner is also like probably the best deck builder in the group, and
Yeah.
he always has really good insights for basically any deck. But if I played the deck a lot, I feel like pretty comfortable about giving my insights, but I'm definitely not as big of a person giving input on some of the lists.
Yeah.
But I do still like try to put an effort
Yeah,
on that.
for sure, for sure. So it's definitely cool to see like how some of the top testing groups kind of like, form their lists and like come to an agreement on like what to play and stuff like that. Do all of you guys usually bring like the same exact list, or are there people who are kind of stubborn about like I really want to play this card, so it's going to be like a 59 or 58 card list like difference kind of thing?
I think like usually when two people are like agreeing on the archetype, they'll almost always play the same list.
Mhm.
Sometimes like pretty frequently we have people that like they don't necessarily want to play like the same archetype as like
Yeah.
what the group is generally bringing. And like we saw in Atlanta, like we had half the group on the poll, most of the group on the poll list, and then
Yeah.
a couple of us on the Guardy list, and our two lists met in finals. And then in like Monterey, the next event, we didn't have as many people there, and we all settled on the Goldango Dragapult deck.
Yeah.
And then after that, like they like had like another Dragapult list, and the same thing in Portland, and then we had our Guardy list. So it's kind of like a split, but we work with like everyone like contributes and talks about like any lists that we might like consider playing. And then I think anytime people play the same deck, they'll usually play the same
Yeah,
ones.
absolutely. So, yeah, congrats again. Thanks for coming out for the interview with us. Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, so we have the list here. So I guess like the biggest thing that people were talking about here is the Rapska line, and the TM Evo line. So how big of that change like kind of helped you win the event?
I mean, having the more evos is like definitely helpful. I like it's not as big of like a specific part of the list, like
Yep.
playing the 3, but like just having a lot of volume and consistently having like easy Arvin or Secret Box discard targets is definitely pretty nice. And then, but the Rapska was almost certainly the MVP of the event. Like besides the Goldango matchup, literally every matchup that is like has like a significant meta percentage, it at least like have some usage. And if if it's not like broken, like I mean, even in, like the Gardevoir mirror, like to block the Scream Tail so you can't like target down your monkeys, it's like insane in that spot. In Dragapult, it's obviously really good. In Terror Box, it like swings the matchup even more. Yeah, like that matchup was probably already favored, but against like really good Terror Box players, it could be really close. But
Yeah.
if you can set up the Rapska like before they take 2 prizes, like you should be pretty good there. And then Raging Bolt, it's really helpful to block the Baby Bolt.
Oh, yeah,
EV
definitely.
Box. EV Box is like so nice because you never have to worry about Angelite. I mean, like they could go out of their way and boss kill the 1 prizer, but at that point, like maybe you can just set it up again right away. And either way, their board's probably not gonna be super ready to even set up an Angelite play that quickly. So basically, all the relevant matchups, it definitely adds at some win percentage, if not just like wins you the
Yeah,
matchup.
definitely. So, is there anything that you think that you would have changed out of the list here?
Nothing that we would have changed. I mean, like there were some things we were like considering, like third Curlia.
Yeah.
Although didn't feel super important, especially when you can evo out the
Yeah.
Rapska. But like a Turo or a boss like gives you a lot more win cons in like certain like kind of niche scenarios,
Yeah.
especially when they're like the way we put it is like when they're trying to be like super mature and not give you easier routes to win. Sometimes the Turo or the boss could be helpful, but in the end we settled with just maxing out the consistency and feeling okay with that.
Okay, so I think we do have the next round set up here. So thank you again, Michael, for coming out here and doing the interview with us. Congrats again for winning the Portland Regional, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so we're moving on here to the next match. And Dan, who do we have here? Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Here, let me get this for him.
So, in case you guys were like, why are you guys talking back and forth so much? Why aren't you all on screen? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Bryce isn't here.
Yes.
So, we are,
We are a two-man
figuring
show.
this out and running it ourselves.
We are a two-man show where we got to talk and run the stream at the same time here.
Yes.
So we're trying to, give us some slack here today. But we really wanted to have this out for you guys today because we have a really great lineup of players here today. We have a challenge here today. And we just wanted to bring something for everybody here watching at home.
Well, exactly. And also, like we said, the challenge and the biggest thing for me is that last chance qualifier. Because, dude, this is just a cool thing we've done.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things, too, that like we're kind of trying to bring over from some of the other games that we run at Nerd Rage. So I know it's been very successful for our One Piece league.
Absolutely.
So being able to bring it over and have it for our Pokemon community is something that gives something back to our local community and has something for them to play for, something important,
100%. And Murray, I'm glad to have you here.
Yes.
There's no threat of throwing here at all.
Yes, definitely. And I did. I was trying to keep track with how you did. I kept track with, your record at the airport, but I didn't get to see how you did at the regional itself. So hopefully you had a good time at Portland as well. And I mean, we had the champion here, so.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
it is pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
So speaking of Guardy, we actually have Mo Idace, who one of the dudes on the team who's been, and you guys all saw the special, has been working for TPCI
Yeah.
and helping out with all the streams, versus Eli, who's also on the team. And we have a lovely, lovely Moon Dun Dun versus Guardy here. And Murray, I
Yeah.
am sorry you
Sorry
scrubbed
about
out
that.
on everything. That is awful.
Yeah.
But so Brian, this is an interesting matchup.
Yeah, it is an interesting matchup just because, I mean, Guardy is Guardy. Guardy can do Guardy things, but this Moon Dun Dun deck also trades
Fair
really
enough.
well
Thank you,
into
Emily,
it.
for clarifying that Mo works for the company that works for Pokemon.
Yes.
I appreciate that. But
Yes.
please carry on, Brian.
Yeah, so this Roaring Moon Dudunsparce deck also trades really well into Gardevoir as well. One of those decks that kind of tries to fall behind early and use that one prizer aspect of the deck to trade up.
Which
So,
is a huge deal, and I think that's something we're seeing in our current format is even if a lot of decks are trying to take like multi-prize turns, it's really hard to do something on a 200 HP basic.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, 200 HP basic that that you're able to put the energy capsule on and also draw a million cards with the Dudunsparce line. It becomes a lot to kind of deal with. And also on Eli's side, it's a lot of shuffling. So it's definitely a big adjustment to play this deck online versus in person.
It is, and I think that is a big difference in that online versus in person. It's just so many more actions, regardless of like the decisions you're making. And we do see Eli starting off going first. And Brian, does Eli want to go first? Oh, I see a Rotom. Yes,
Yeah, I think
yes, Eli does.
I feel like you want to if you know what your matchup is already, just because I feel like with this deck, you want to start attacking right away. And sometimes with this deck, you can't reliably attack turn one, I feel like, just because you need to have Sada, you need to have a bunch of ancient cards in the discard, and it's kind of difficult to kind of have all that done at the same time. But if you go first, you're able to, Rotom, get all those Dunsparces out and start drawing cards, then you can more reliably get that, turn two attack and start trading against a deck that's much slower like Gardevoir.
100%. And Emily is dropping all of the league insider knowledge in the
Yeah.
chat. So, Emily, thank you for sharing. This is all good for us to know. And that is one of the reasons why a bunch of the top players who moved to commentating like couldn't actually play for a while. So, it's good to know that
good
there's
to
a
know.
difference.
Yeah, good to know.
And getting back to the game, so like you said, Brian, Eli wants to set up, get that aggressive board going. Mo playing the slower deck, but to be honest, it's not all that slow. So
Yeah.
it is going to be big for Eli to be able to stay on pace.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Gardevoir is a deck that Mo is very comfortable with, so I know he has an idea of like how to play through the matchup, this and that. So it's definitely something that I know he can play to a very high level as well. And I think he's got a pretty decent play here. It looks like he can get the attachment onto this Monkey Dory here. He's got the Artisan to grab a Ralts here, and hopefully the evolution in his hand can lead to a Curlia.
And I think it will be able to. The bigger deal for Mo is going to be able to have it lead to two Curlia or
Yes.
something else. So Relor or Rabsca doesn't really matter too much in this matchup since there's no sniping, but it could be really easy for Eli with a bunch of Dun-Duns at hand, with a Moon with an energy down, to gust up that Curlia if that's the only one Mo gets down.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely has that line here. So I'm wondering how he's going to kind of go about the rest of this turn here. So we see that attachment come down here.
And we just see a
Oh, we threw the pass. Oh, that's
So
crazy.
Mo's hand is not good. And unfortunately for Mo, Eli has literally zero opportunity to disrupt Mo's hand at all. There is not
Yeah.
a single Iono, Roxanne, that's not legal, unfair stamp, nothing in here.
Yeah, so I'm surprised to see why he didn't end up going for that evolution play. Maybe he didn't see the Curlia. Maybe there's no Curlia in the
Maybe.
deck. I
Or
didn't
maybe
get
the
chance.
Curlia's in hand.
Yeah, it could be in hand as well. So that could also be a difficulty that we have to come about here as well.
So one advantage that Eli has now is because that energy is already set on the active moon, he can use that Explorer's Guidance and still get an attack off this turn.
Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of like one of the things I was kind of mentioning as well, is that when you have that turn, going first, you're able to more reliably get that first attack going.
100%. And I think it's sometimes not as important with decks either that can accelerate or decks that rely on Budu, and they really want to go second to get a better setup. But for a deck like this that can be aggressive with those 2 manual attachments and no evolutions or modifiers or anything necessary, like this puts Eli in the driver's seat because unless Mo has Candy Guardian and Attacker or just Candy Guardy, it's going to be hard for him to respond.
Yeah, definitely will be. So looks like Eli might just be going for that vengeance. Is it vengeance fletching?
Vengeance Fletching. So the
Yeah.
attack for 2 Dark Energy does 70 damage plus 10 more for each Ancient card in your discard pile. And right
Yeah.
now, it's only doing 80, but Monkey's weak to Dark.
Yeah, so there's going to be an attack here either way. So I think as long as that Explorer's Guidance kind of came out, that Eli would have been able to get that attack off either way. So looks like we're going to kind of just go for that attack here. And I really like how Eli kept this to Dunsparce here as well, just because now he can use it next turn if his hand gets disrupted at all.
100%. And having that Dunsparce available, there's no threat of it getting gusted up and trapped or anything like that because it shuffles itself back into the deck. So it's not a liability at any point.
Yeah, definitely. So Mo's kind of thinking about what he wants to do here. Looks like he's looking to play the Ultra Ball here.
Getting rid of, I think that's a Gardevoir
Yeah, I
EX.
believe that's the Gardevoir EX. And going for the Pheasantipity, which is also an interesting thing as well.
I think, and this is where it's frustrating for Mo because obviously he would like to have a more single prize board, try to like set something up for to slow the game down. But unfortunately, if your hand is dead, you kind of have to go for the draw here.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, I'm thinking he can try to see if he can try to raw draw this rare candy here and see if he can like find another way to get an EX right away. There's definitely been times that I've definitely raw drew into it. So hopefully, let's see what these 3 cards brings him here. Earthen Vessel. Don't know what those other research, and I think that's a nest ball.
I mean, the research is the key piece because
Yeah.
the research is going to let him play the game.
Yeah.
And so we will be able to both nest ball, we'll be able to artisan and set
Yeah.
up somewhat of a board, but I mean, things are still tough for Mo here.
Yeah, I'm wondering too if playing the artisan here is also the move, just because if you play the artisan, you can also grab thin something else out of the deck as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with that decision because we aren't really going to try to draw into basics. All we need is another Ralts. And if we can get another Ralts out, then why would we try to dig for more?
Yeah, definitely. So looks like we are going
Oh.
to research here after we shuffle, because we do need to do that still.
Yes. And we do actually see the no use of Artisan. So maybe we're attempting to go into multiple Curlia?
Yeah, maybe. So hopefully we're going to see if we can draw into it naturally. So
And I mean, that's going to be tough because then, per your point, Brian, then my question is if there was a Curlian deck, why weren't we using Evo TM last turn?
that's what I'm saying too, because I feel like that's probably the ideal play, is because if you Evo TM the last play and you knew that you weren't going to get gusted, you can just get EX right away.
And I feel like we're probably going to have to bring Michael back in to provide some
Yeah,
commentary
we might
here
need
on
to.
like what Mo's decision making is.
Yeah.
All right, so we see the draw from Mo, 7 cards. We see Rapska.
Yep.
Don't see a whole lot else.
Yeah, but we still have access to that artisan as well, so
We do a Screamtail, which doesn't evolve into anything. But
Yep.
we are able to get another Ralts if we want and evolve into a Curlia, excuse me.
yeah. So see that Ralt's coming out here. So it looks like we're just gonna go straight into that Evo here.
So, all right, Brian. Dan, we all love Mo. Mo is the best. But Brian, I have questions about Mo's decision making right now.
Yeah.
Why do you think he skipped evolving into
Yeah,
Curlia
that's
last
also
turn?
a question that I have as well, and I can't really think of like a possibility. I think unless he thought that he had a really good chance of just raw drawing into Rare Candy EX, that's the only thing I could think of.
But that doesn't even make sense though because you could just draw into EX.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why that Curly is in there now, Boss was just played on Eli's side, so he is going to gust up that Curlia.
And that honestly to me is the only thing I could see from Mo's end of not wanting to evolve up is if he thought Eli had boss in hand or had easy access to it.
Yeah, but I still feel like if you knew that he had Boss anyways, you still go for that play, I feel like.
For sure. And also, Eli's still going to knock out Ralts, even if
Yeah.
it's Ralts and not Curlia.
Yeah, so
All right. So, Mo, this is our feedback for you. Incredible player. You've had a lot of good success. I don't know
especially
why you
with this
didn't
deck.
evolve. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
All right. So, on Eli's turn, like we said, he got the boss. He's going to be able to, knock out this Curlia. And he got an energy attachment down on the moon, and he has 2 Dun-Duns down. Like, is there anything else he wants?
Not really. I mean, you got like a crazy setup here already, so you kind of have everything you really need. So I'm not really thinking that there's anything crazy that you need right now.
No, I agree. We really just need to be able to stream attacks. And good, Emily, I'm glad you're getting a little love. You were absolutely fantastic. And honestly, TPCI, Paperlight, whoever, they're happy to have, or they're lucky to have you.
Yeah. Same with Mo.
Yes, they are
Yes.
definitely lucky to have. And honestly, we're lucky to have Mo here.
Yes,
Mo
we are
is
also lucky to have Mo
awesome,
here.
dude.
Yeah.
All right, so we see Eli have a great board. Mo's board, less awesome. Do have Fez, do have a Ralts in the active. And so how does Mo get back into this game?
Oh, it's so tough to see because I feel like you need a bunch of pieces here. Oh, Secret Box is helpful.
That is.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about this a bunch, and this is why I love doing this because we get to talk about how we improve what lines we take. This is a scenario people are going to come up against all the time where they are at a disadvantage, they're behind, their opponent is enacting their game plan and you're not. And so Brian, let me ask you, how do you come back in these kinds of situations?
Yeah, I think it's like a combination of like needing some really good disruption that sticks and being able to take advantage of your one prizers. Um, I mean, Mo's able to get the rare Candy Guardy out here. He's got the Screamtail on the board, so the Screamtail is going to do a really good job of being able to knock stuff out, like the those Roaring Moons. It can pretty much knock out anything on the board right now. Um, so just being able to take advantage of that and mix it in with some disruption and hopefully those Dunsparces and just hoping that they don't, draw Eli into something that he can win the game with.
I think that makes sense. So the one line I'm thinking, Eli was a wee.
Oh,
Dan, you're absolutely right. Eli has evolved into Charizard at this point.
yeah, Charmander now his beard and earrings truly a Charizard.
He truly has. So the one line for Mo that I think is a weird one and is not a high probability of success, but to be honest, Mo's looking kind of cooked anyway, is I think we need to attack with Monkey Dory a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to take advantage of the Mind Bend confusion could definitely buy Mo some turns as well.
And that, to me, that is the line only because you can't trap Dun Dun. The Roaring Moons are easy to set up. There's already two there, so we can't, like, try to prevent an attack. There's no way to wall from the basic Pokemon or non-EX Pokemon in this deck. So the only way you can really get this to go is to force Eli to be able to not take prizes for a while.
Yeah, definitely. So it seems like that's kind of the plan here.
I think that is the plan
Yeah,
for
so
Mo.
Night Stretcher here. I hope it grabs another Ralts.
I would imagine, and yes, looks like it is.
So let's see what he's going to end up doing. I think the final play he's going to kind of do here is play. Oh, he played Arvin already, so he can't.
He did.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Iono's not super helpful anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So we are going to excel. Oh, we're going in with a
It's going straight
Screamtail.
into Screamtail here.
So Brian, what do you think about that decision?
I like this. So that's probably the play that I would have gone for first before, resorting to the Mind Bend. Is at least if you go with the Screamtail, you can start attacking right away. And you can start taking prizes right away as well.
And that is true. And I think Mo can try to take multiple prizes with Monkey Dory, especially with that Fan Rotom.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Ooh, taking out the Dunsparce is really huge
Oh.
here.
and I mean, that's a great line too.
Yeah.
If you knock out Eli's draw, that's a whole different game.
Yeah, definitely. And there's definitely lines too to where you can take a multi-prize turn, taking out the Fan Rotom, also while continually taking out the Dunsparces.
100%. And Eli does not play anything like Monkey Dory, but he does play Hyper Blower, Iron Bundle, and he does play a Super Rod and a Night Stretcher. So
Yeah.
it's not like he's not able to get these Dun-Duns back, but I think it's a good idea for Mo to try to remove that draw so we can stick a Disruption or Iona later.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's also important to think about too is if Mo is really wanting to lean into using this Screamtail, he's already used the Night Stretcher and he's already used the Super Rod. So
Yeah.
I think if this is exactly Michael's 60, so I think there's only one Night Stretcher left as a recovery tool or recovery card that he could use to get something back into play.
And that is a big, big deal then, because knocking out these Dun-Duns adds a lot more value to Mo's plan. So Guardy is less of a disrupt, draw deck than it was, but I mean, if you're able to set up a sustainable board, you throw a few Ionos at a deck like this, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's like part of like why this deck is so good is because the players who are really the best at it had to adapt to playing it like the different styles that it was. Like, you had to play initially when it came out as this kind of single prize deck that can take out like these giant towers of Pokemon with the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and then you get into the slower version that we had last year that really used a lot of refinement, the Monkey Dory, this and that to kind of win its games that way. Now this version feels like a kind of like a hybrid of both. It's like a kind of like a turbo kind of build that plays a lot faster than the other one, but also has the same tools that last year's Gardevoir had.
Yes, I agree. And we see Eli debating that ancient capsule. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Brian. What I think I would like to see Eli do with that is just shove every ancient card necessary into the discard until he's able to knock out Fez or Guardy.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's not going to be that hard to take out the Gardevoir just because I mean it does have the weakness to the dark.
Yes, we need to get to
Yeah.
9 in the discard.
Yeah, so being able to get Mo into a position where he is forced to use the Gardevoir to attack is like something that will be very beneficial to Eli's side here.
100%. And we do see now that Roaring Moon on the bench built up. We do see a Monkey Dory, but we don't have any other attackers down except for, like you said, Scardivar EX, which does not actually one-shot the moon with the capsule.
Yeah, I know. It's so tough to see. But I mean, with the Monkey Dory, you do get there.
You do.
But at the same time, you want to have all those other resources here as well. And that's why I was mentioning that it's so important that Mo was down all of these recovery cards because you need all of those pieces in order to knock out a lot of those Pokemon.
You do. You absolutely do. And so Mo does have more ball search, able to go into the deck. I don't think we played any recovery for Screamtail, but getting another Curlia is great to sustain this board. And now we got to figure out who we're going to attack with this turn.
Yeah, I feel like this has got to be like a Drifloon move here. Like I feel like Drifloon kind of has to take
Is that Lily's
precedent.
Clefairy?
Oh, Lily's Clefairy. Interesting play to go with that, especially as another potential two-prize liability. Even though this one does have a metal weakness instead of a dark weakness,
And
it's still a very frail Pokemon.
I think that's exactly it, though, is right now, Eli looks like he's only scaled up to maybe like 100 to 130 something with this Vengeance Fletching. So Mo may be able to tank with this 190 HP attacker. And if he's able to attach one energy from hand to it or double monkey, it can have a clean 190 or 240 if he finds the bravery charm.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the big things for it for
we
Mo.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is getting a little scary.
Yeah, so this is interesting too because now Mo can power up this Clefairy, double monkey, and take out the Fan Rotom.
Or take out the Dun with that counter catcher.
Yeah, I was mentioning the monkey damage could take out the Fan Rotom, and then he could take another prize elsewhere.
Yes, 100%. And I was imagining he takes out both of the moons, but yeah, we're going to go after the Duns here.
Yeah, and I do like this play more just because this is exactly what you're mentioning earlier, being able to target the draw.
Yes.
Which is huge.
And so one thing I do want to say, so targeting the draw is a huge, huge deal. Like, I think it's incredibly valuable. And I think that only helps if they also don't have attacker set up.
Yeah.
And so the issue is, even as Mo is targeting Eli's draw, Eli has 2 Roaring Moons set up to attack. And it is very possible Eli sets up a third. And if Eli has 3 attackers, he doesn't care. He can take, I think Mo's at 3 prizes.
He's at 4.
4, yes, because we have not knocked out that. So Eli doesn't care because he has all of his attackers set up. Like, he's going to be able to close out the game, and then it's going to be on Mo to close out that game faster. And I actually love this decision from Eli to clear off these liabilities and stuff from the board to have his board be just attackers.
Yeah, definitely. So I see he's got the A-Spec neutralization zone in play or in hand right now, and I'm wondering if that's going to be something that kind of comes down soon.
So I imagine. So I believe the Gardevoir list that Michael played only played, I think, 1 or 2 stadium bounces.
Yeah.
2 artisan. So Mo may not have another way to bounce this neutralization zone.
Yeah, I think he's down both artisans now.
And so that's a huge deal because then Mo will only be able to take knockouts with Drifloon, Screamtail, or a very, very aggressive Monkey Dory.
Yeah, definitely. And another detail here to put is actually promoting the Dunsparce first as well, which is also good because it's pretty much a free pivot.
It is. And kind of like we were saying, it can clear it off the board.
Yeah, definitely.
And so now, if Eli does set up a third moon, Eli's going to say, I mean, you can take a prize or two with Monkey, but what else are you going to do?
Yeah, so let's see, the draw 3 first. The Dunsparce will go back into the deck. And I think what Eli's really hoping for is to draw into another one, so this Dunsparce on the bench doesn't end up getting sniped by the Monkey Dory damage. And he does have the Ultra Ball in hand, so
Exactly.
he'll be able to get it.
And having that Ultra Ball means, like we said, not only will he be able to draw additional cards, but he's going to clear a prize off the board and really make it harder for Mo to actually finish up the prize map. And Eli can do this while ideally setting up enough damage to knock out this Lily's Clefairy.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Yeah, and it's I mean, on Mo's side, there's so many two prizers as well. So all this does is it accelerates what Eli's able to do to win the game.
Oh, or actually Eli
Yeah.
could, again, as everyone does, not listen to us whatsoever and just go get another Dunsparce down.
Yeah.
Which is super cool until Mo puts down the third monkey.
Yeah.
That's a lie. There's only 2 monkeys.
Yeah, there's only 2. This is exactly Michael's list, so
Yes.
only 2.
But still, like, this is a good position for Eli. Mo's got to be feeling a lot more hopeful than he was previously. But that is so good for Eli. Oh, but we
Yeah.
don't see the knockout.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is. So we actually only got to 150. So 8 ancient cards in the discard. It's not a lot, man.
Yeah, I know, and that's definitely what happens when you don't have as much draw as, what Eli had initially. And that's the crazy part too, is now that this double monkey can heal a bunch of the damage off and kind of put Eli back to almost where he started with trying to knock this out.
So it can, but the question is, can Mo bounce that neutralization zone?
Yeah, that's also a big thing as well. And I don't think it's it is actually a pretty big deal because now that there's no other attacker that can really
The
take care
only
of this.
thing Mo can do damage with is Monkey Spread, obviously,
Yeah.
Mind Bend, and Curlia attacking, because currently Lily's Clefairy does not hit into or knock
that's
anything
true.
out.
This neutralization zone was a really good play from Eli here.
And Mo deciding to use some of that monkey damage to take a prize, maybe to find that second Artisan.
Yeah.
And so looking at Mo's hand, we see an Earthen Vessel, a Psychic. I can't see what else, but I gotta imagine
Yeah.
if one of those was an Artisan, it'd already be down.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, that's so tough.
So then if you're Mo and you don't have access to Artisan, what's the move?
Oh, I don't even know what the move is at this point. Maybe you do have to go into that mind bend at that point. I was like thinking, do you attack with the Curlia? But I feel like that's kind of a waste of an attack because I don't think unless you're taking the full knockout, the mind bend seems like the better play here. But at the same time, I think that booster capsule prevents the confusion.
It does, because
Yeah.
it prevents all status conditions.
Yeah,
So that
so-
booster capsule just undoes a lot of Mo's lines, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so we see the attachment come down to the Curlia. I think we may see a Curlia attack here.
Yeah, I think so. This seems like. Oh man, I don't even know what this attack does.
So I believe, goodness, I'm gonna have to look this
Yeah.
up. I think it's psychic, so it does damage based on the number of energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much. Oh man.
I know, I'm looking up Curlia TCG. It is psychic, 60 plus 20 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon.
Oh,
So we are doing 100 damage. And that is not a lot, Brian.
it's not a lot. It's not great. This neutralization zone's kind of crazy.
All right, and we are
Yeah.
trying to set up damage on that Dunsparce. And so Eli may be able to clear that damage off the board, take another prize, and just be in such a good place.
Yeah, this is crazy too because this neutralization zone completely changed the pace of this game here.
100%. So neutralization, for those watching at home, it is an A-spec stadium that says your opponent, or prevent all damage done to your non-rule box Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon V or EX. And so that's a huge deal here because, like we said, Mo's only attackers on the board are EXs or Vs or this stinking Curlia.
Yeah.
And so it does not prevent effects of attacks. So like you could still spread with Dragapult or something. So there are ways around it, but for Eli, man, this is a huge wall for Mo to get over.
Yeah, definitely. So, Seeing what Murray's saying here. Played against Moon Moon Dun Dun at Portland, and Op was pretty salty when I, as Joltic Box, played downtown store.
I could understand that.
Yep.
So neutralization zone, honestly, kind of like what you're saying, Murray, it has even more value because there are a bunch of
Yeah, there's a lot of
decks
decks.
not playing Stadium
Yeah,
House.
that aren't. Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like what he's mentioning with the Joltic Box, which historically doesn't play a stadium, but now, I mean, Murray's version played one.
And honestly,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like Mo's deck plays a Stadium anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have an Artisan in deck or
Yeah,
a way to bounce this.
I think he discarded it earlier in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now we are in a very tough position. And so, Brian, how does Mo win this game?
I think he's got to like double monkey into Mind Bend here. I think that's the only way he can kind of take another prize here.
And even then, that's tough because he will go down to 2 prizes remaining, but so will Eli.
Yeah.
And there's not a clean way for Mo to get those last 2.
Yeah, it's definitely a little tough. So we see the Night Stretcher. Okay. Oh, the Screamtail. Okay, so this is good.
This is very good because it will enable Mo to take a prize. And we see
Okay.
the counter catcher on the moon with 1 energy, and that's also huge because now maybe Mo has an opportunity.
Yeah, Iono.
Oh, we do disrupt the hand.
So disrupting the hand feels good, but at the same time, it's like, how much is this really gonna help?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Eli's hand was enormous, so that is a big deal. But all Mo has to do is hope that Eli doesn't hit an energy or an out to Sada or something like that. And suddenly Mo is stealing a ton of time.
Yeah. So hopefully we're able to kind of, take more of that time here. But I really like the resilience on both sides of these players. They know that, their decks have taken, taken like a lead at certain points of the game, but being able to kind of bounce back, know what you have, and play to your outs, really shows the skill of both players here.
Dude, it's a little cliche, but playing to your outs is a very, very real win condition. My
Yeah.
one of our locals here, Alec, has said this a while ago. And I unfortunately shut him down pretty quick. But he had said that, one of his buddies told him that once you're trying to look for like mill out or other win conditions, like you've already lost. And I will say absolutely not. The way you win the game does not matter. And being able to find those weird, crazy win conditions is a big differentiator of what makes a player an incredible player versus a very good one.
Yeah, definitely.
And so Mo here is working through those lines, able to take a knockout with this Screamtail. And Brian, I gotta imagine we go after one of those dun-duns.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, but going out.
Oh. Why do you think he went that route?
I think he went that route to.
Because we're gonna try to knock out the second moon
Yeah.
next turn as that 3rd prize.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like figuring out a way to. I think he's also trying to figure out a way to where he doesn't have to rely on those EXs because the neutralization zone is still down.
Yes.
And as long as he took out that other moon, I think he could take out the last prize with something like Drifloon.
Well, so we are actually at 160 damage on that moon on the bench. So we are 2 Monkey Dory pings away from clearing that off the board and being able to take another prize. And yes,
Moderator, I think Mo is out of Artisans.
So Mo, again, like you're saying, went from a very, very rough position to having a line to win this game.
Yeah.
And so now it's going to come down to, can Eli hit Energy Gust, not just Energy?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
and so
boss
Eli
E
hit
switch.
Energy Gust.
Oh,
All right.
nice. All right.
Well, Eli closes it out with that Energy Gust, and luckily, for the first time in forever, we have a match B. So we'll talk about that game in a little bit, but we actually have Joltic Box versus Guardy because we only play Gardevoir here at Nerd Rage.
Definitely.
And Joltic Box, to the surprise of literally no one, seems to be at a big prize advantage.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this matchup is not as bad as people think for Gardevoir.
Agreed.
I play both decks, and there's definitely times where the Gardevoir player can definitely outskill you, but there's also times where the Joltic Box player just runs you over.
I mean, sometimes you just win.
Yeah.
Like, there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And that Iron Hands, the Ampy very much, Jake Gearhart's favorite attack in history of the game, is just a huge problem for Gardevoir.
Yeah, definitely. So, Elias here is looking to kind of use this Drifloon here to kind of uptrade into this Iron Hands.
which is great if Joe
Yeah.
doesn't have a follow-up for 2 prizes, and it doesn't look like he does. We have 2 Pikachus loaded, but no other Iron Hands in play.
Yeah, do you have Joe's list? Do you know if he plays the Gravity Mountain?
I indeed do have Joe's list, and Joe indeed does not play a Gravity Mountain.
All right, so I guess his only out here is to gust up this Pheasantipity and kind of win from there.
Which, to be fair, is fine.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
still not bad.
yeah.
And I'm trying to say, no, we play no Gravity Mountain. We play no Monkey Dory or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what Joe kind of goes to do to go about this play here.
So and Murray, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, because you are not back here where we're watching this, you can say we don't have budget concerns, but
We definitely our setup here is definitely not as clean.
right, yes, I would agree with that. All right, and so we do see the prime catcher the boss's orders
Yeah.
from Joe to close things out on that Pheasantipity, and so Joltic takes the win here. And I mean, Brian, honestly, we've already talked a bunch about Guardy, and Moon's probably not a big deck in the format. I'd love to talk to Joe a little bit about Joltic.
Yeah,
What do you think?
absolutely.
Sweet. So do you mind snagging him?
Yeah,
and
I'll go grab
keep
him.
talking through this.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you. So one of the things, Brian and I were talking about this, and not just because it's just the 2 of us running this, but in general, the whole focus of our league series is to be about local players. So why not get local players and give them some screen time, some face time, and talk about the success they've had? Because in case y'all haven't come through Chicago, there are a lot of great players here, and it forces all of us to get real good at the game real quick. And Mullerator, you absolutely know I will ask about crayon flavors because what's our favorite thing? And wait, Brian, you need to come back and do the screen here. All right, so we are going to get that set up. Is Brian coming back? All right, that is fine. So while Brian gets back here and actually listens to us, which would be nice, Joe, you can go ahead and have a seat and grab the headphones right there. So Joe is an excellent player, honestly, who has been playing for a while. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me set left, update. Is that good? Is that good? Are we working? Nope, Joe went both. All right, sounds good. So, Joe, you've been playing for a while. You have been... I need to keep this on. You've been having a lot of good success recently because you've got a couple day 2s over the past couple seasons. You've been doing really well locally. Can you click transition, Brian? So, dude, why are you playing Crayola Box?
Dude, honestly, what's great about Crayola Box is like it just feels like a good time. It's really like, yes, the deck is a little bit easier to play, but there is still like a lot of opportunity to make some like really crazy plays and outplay your opponent. For those wondering, my favorite crayon to eat is red. Love the color red. But anyway,
not even a special run, just straight up red.
Dude, normal, out of the box. That what's that generic pack, like the 24 pack? Red,
Yes.
right there.
Listen, we got Pack Fresh, we got Box Fresh crayons.
Right,
we know how to do it around here. Yes.
Yeah. Also love to eat glue. But anyway, so what's great about the deck though is like what I found by playing it is like it really puts the pressure on your opponent to like always have kind of a response, right?
It
If you're
does.
able to like, in my stream match, in case you didn't see, like I had my second turn, I was able to amp my opponent's Monkey Dory, and then I was able to do it again. And so I'm already like, 4 prizes ahead before my opponent's taking a prize. My opponent did a really great play of like, I don't remember if I was like stuck or he mind bended my Iron Hands, right? And so I
Okay.
can't just like, amp for free, right? I would have to flip the coin. And so I still had my Joltic out. And so I would just kept accelerating energy, thin my deck. And so it's just like small, like fundamental things like that I think the deck really, we could joke about eating crayons, but there are some, intricacies of the deck.
Whatever you say, Joe. Whatever you say.
All right.
Mullerator has a great question. Would you like to answer your sequence of energy grabbing?
So yeah, I mean, it kind of just depends on what we have in the deck. Personally, for me, I like to. I'm trying to see here.
It's all sequences of grass and
2.
lightning.
I mean, it really just kind of depends.
No,
I mean,
so Joe, we're giving you a really hard time.
no,
on this.
I
And
know. Yeah.
This deck has a reputation for not being a high skill differential deck, but legitimately, I think you said something really key there. The deck is simple and straightforward, and decks that are kind of low to the ground are good only if you optimally handle every decision you have. Because
Correct.
there are so few decisions that if you don't play them perfectly, there's so much variation in your result that can come from a single choice. So, like, what are the fundamentals that make someone actually be successful with this deck?
Yeah, so I think like the big thing I learned actually was like the energy spread from the first jolting charge. Also, like your energy counts really matter. If you prize like one of your two metals or one of your two psychics, and it's against a key matchup, that could really change your game plan, right? Like if you prize a metal, or excuse me, if you prize a psychic against like Dragapult, like how are we going to get that Clefairy playoff, right? And so it's just really making sure that with the simple flow chart that you're able to like master and really map out like your 2-2-2 map.
And that makes sense. And so that was actually the next question I had for you. One of the things I found be like winning or losing plays with the Joltic Box are prize mapping.
Mm-hmm.
And like obviously you want to prize map yourself of how you're going to go about the game. But the other thing, and I kind of keep pushing on this in all these streams, is how do you play around your opponent's prize map?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got Pika, which is a huge deal because you can wall, but like how does that go into your mindset when you're going into something like Guardy or another deck?
Yeah, so I think like what's great about like the Guardy example is it's a stage 2 deck, right? It plays a lot of like smaller Pokemon, so obviously like the goal is to amp as much as we can, and then the Pika is kind of like our plan B, right? I am playing the Vitality Band, so I can one shot a Gardevoir, which I think is really key. And if you're not playing Vitality Band in your Joltic Box deck, I think that's something you should definitely think about including because like the Pikachu walling, the Gardevoir player can wall with their EX, right? And they're not really expecting you to do 310 because most lists don't really play the Vitality Band. So again, what's great about this Joltic Box deck and kind of to answer your question is you really have to like evaluate what your opponent's doing. And so if you have a turn where you can't take a 2 prize knockout, maybe all your Iron Hands are knocked out, maybe they just put up a 1 prizer, right? You have to like just really consider like can you use the Galvantula, right?
Yes.
To kind of really, because then again, right, you're putting the pressure on your opponent to then respond to your unoptimal like
100%,
prize map, right?
yes.
So, and that's again why I really love the deck because I think there is kind of, because it is a little bit easier to play and a little bit lower to the ground, you can really kind of evaluate like what did my opponent do, what are they trying to do, and it's more kind of like a back and forth.
And I mean, there is a lot of benefit to playing a deck like that, especially over a 12, 13, whatever round regional. Like, you only have so much cognitive capacity for so long. I always talk about how I played Lost Tina. Ben Doverstein, one of our friends, locals here, would play Miraidon. And after about 25 minutes, Ben's rounds would be done, and he'd usually be pretty happy and won. And about 30 to 40 minutes after that, I would walk up with my round being done, exhausted, trying to find a bathroom before the next round starts. And so you do that 14 times,
right?
You're probably going to be playing a whole lot more optimally with Joltic Box at the end than you would with something that is a lot more complicated. And dude, that matters.
I think it's something really underrated when we talk about like the Pokemon trading card game is just that mental edge, right? When it's round 9 and you're 5-2-1 and you're trying to get that winning in on day 2 and you're playing a deck like Joltic Box and you hit an opponent that's been playing like Gardevoir all day or Dragapult, right? They've been going, game 3s every round, right? And you've had those extra like lunch breaks that maybe your opponent didn't have. I think it actually really is like a big benefit to that regional run. And so, yeah, I definitely, agree with you there that it is a really big deal and it definitely matters.
It does. And so I say this as I will still absolutely ask you about your crayon flavors every time I see you playing it, but it is a legitimately good deck to play. And Dan, having your round 4 energy drink can help you survive and thrive, but
very true, yes.
We don't usually want to rely on that. But Joe, I know the round is up. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey,
Are
thanks for having
you
me.
automatically qualified quite yet?
No, this is my first event actually in the series, so I'm hoping to get that top 4 to get that auto invite.
That's good. So we did find out, and I can say this here for you. We've got a few $100 at least of store credit available for the Invitational. So hopefully get a little higher after how things go today. But there's going to be some stuff to play for. But thank you very much, Joe. I'll let you get back to it. Yeah, of course. And and I don't think Joltic just viewing you is going to lead to a concussion, but I appreciate that mentality. Brian, do you have it set up, or do you want me to
No,
go set it up?
I didn't want to touch too much of it.
All
But
right, that is fair.
I
That's fair.
have the list.
So I
and
will
stuff.
swap out with you there. So,
Yeah.
Brian, as we are getting set up for this next round, we actually have some cool stuff coming up. So we have Ends Zorark again, which
Yes.
is fantastic. And let me see how we get this here. Match A.
Yeah.
We can start on our own time if you're cool with the guys doing that. For the 4 tables here, I can set
Yeah.
a timer so we don't hold everyone back. All right, perfect. So obviously, when we're doing the stream, the normal clock operates a little bit differently than some
ours,
of the
yeah.
regular ones.
Hmm.
So we have here today Ryan
Yes.
playing Bridge.
Yeah, he's playing Archaladon with Zoroark EX.
And that is great nuance, but
Yes.
I am just going to put Bridge. And we
Yes.
have Josh.
Josh DeLuca's playing just straight Zoroark EX.
Yes. And so for me, this is kind of an interesting matchup because hilariously, Darmanitan could matter more than just as a snipe in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And once those guys are ready to go, we can probably just get rolling here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. So then, Brian, would you mind nicely letting the people know that
Yeah.
we can get rolling and I'll start a
Sounds
timer?
good.
So we mentioned this. So Ryan is playing Bridge, Josh is playing End Zorark, and we've seen a little bit of End Zorark. We have not seen Bridge yet today, and it's been one of the big decks of the format, even if it hasn't had a ton of top 8 conversions. Because, Brian, I don't know if we've seen many Bridge in top cuts.
I don't think so. Now that you think about it. I think last format, I think we had a couple times where Bridge made top cut or very close to. I remember EUIC it almost made cut. I think it made ASIM, and then during this format, Isaiah Chaville had that top 16
Yes,
placement with
Poison Bridge.
Poison Arch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and so for this version, Ryan is just playing the End Zorark Bridge. So basically going all in on that, what is it, Metal Defender attack?
Yeah.
And then using End Zorark to draw. And so for this first turn, Ryan gets a Duraludon down and a Zora down. And I mean, that's really all he needs.
Yeah, definitely. So he's got pretty much everything here, and Josh just goes in with the Iono right away.
And I mean, that's not bad. Being
Yeah.
able to get 6 fresh cards, try to set up a board. Starting Reshiram isn't great. Oh, Murray, you're absolutely right. With Dialga. Not in this format,
Yeah,
unfortunately, but with
yeah.
Dialga.
I did forget about that.
That's true. We always forget about Dialga,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But all right, so Josh finds Devo, not the most helpful, but we do find our trolley. And Brian, this trolley is a card that has seen, to me, a surprising amount of success.
Yeah, so the trolley's crazy because, I mean, now Josh has a loaded bench here.
I know, and
Yeah.
getting every single basic Pokemon you want, regardless of the type of Pokemon, EX, basic, whatever, like that's insane.
Yeah, definitely. So being able to just have like 3 Zoroark or Zoroas and 2 Darmakas just straight up is kind of crazy.
And so one of the things we saw in our last round with Enzorark is you saw Alex Vega playing nest balls to get
Yes.
Darmanitans out, or excuse me, Darmakas out because they're 80 HP, so you can't buddy poffin for them,
Yeah. It's definitely not a thing you can do.
which is problematic. So it means it's a lot harder to find.
Yeah.
All right, so then Brian, talk us through the rest of Josh's turn. What is his perfect board?
Yeah, so I think it was probably 2 Darmakas, 3 Zoroas, but I don't know what he's looking to do here. He's looking to put a Petront down, which I don't know if I really like all that much.
A Petrot EX?
Yeah.
I really don't, if we're being honest.
Yeah, because that just seems like Dura food here.
100%.
Yeah.
But I do think 2 Darmaka are good.
Yeah, 2 Darmaka is definitely ideal because you definitely need a way to trade up with some of your attacks. But, I think he's looking to put down the Petron. Not really liking that, but
And so,
yeah.
Brian, tell me about that. Why don't you like that?
Just because it's putting the 2 prize liability down. And that's not what we really like here because, I mean, at the end of the day, we just want to be able to have as many single prizers initially as possible. Because that's the nice thing about this deck is you're able to start the game off with only a single prize board. It's kind of one of the reasons why Goldengo was so popular is because there weren't any sort of liabilities on the board early, and you can kind of just trade from there.
And that is very true. And I think one of the big ways that Bridge now, and even with Dialga in the past, like would win, is by just gusting 2 prizers over and over and over again.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what Ryan wants to do here is just take out a bunch of 2 prizers here. But Now it's a little bit easier just because there's another 2 prizer on the board that's easy to knock out.
There is. Now, the advantage Josh had is that Ryan's first hand was ass.
Yes.
So, to use my professional terminology here, there wasn't energy to go in the discard. There wasn't anything like that. So, we're just going to see on Ryan's end his own trolley
Yeah,
into
response.
likely an Evo.
Yeah, response trolley, which is kind of nice.
It is. And even if it's turn 2, I mean, even though Josh has a good board, there's not a ton of direct pressure on any 2 prizes right now from Josh's end.
Yeah, and one part that I'm kind of interested in is if Ryan ends up putting down like maybe the Genesect. I think the card is really good.
Well, it doesn't really matter anymore, right?
Yeah, it doesn't anymore. But if it was like an earlier in the game kind of thing,
Yeah.
I feel like the Genesect could have been super good.
So for those who are like, what the heck are you talking about, Brian? Genesect V rotated. So Genesect is a basic Pokemon that has the ability that if a tool card is attached to it, your opponent cannot play an ace spec from their hand. And that's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we do see Evo and Energy for Ryan. So, Brian, I gotta imagine we're just getting to Zoroark here, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Just because those Archaludon's abilities don't proc unless it comes off of the comes from the hand.
Moderator, that may be a different Genesect if I'm reading the logo correctly. I'm pretty sure that's a Shining Genesect. Anyway, going back to Josh's turn, we see a Zoroark for him. We see a pretty good hand, honestly. We
Yeah.
see an Arven. I mean, we may see a pretty good turn from Josh here, too.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how the trades kind of go, and if we're able to kind of get a get like a stadium here to get that Reshiram out of the active. Oh, Ace Nullifier. Yeah, it's the correct one. Yeah.
Yes, that is one. Okay, for some reason I was reading like Shining Fables or something from way back in the day, but
Yeah.
yes. So we do see that Artisan. We see oh yeah, that is a good one. That's true. Fun fact, playing against a Dragapult that played that with Hydreigon meant I could not use Neo Upper Energy.
Oh,
and that was
man.
very, very annoying.
Yeah, I played a similar deck. I played Joltic Box to like a local like last week, and I put down the Genesect, and my Terrorbox opponent wasn't able to attach the crystal.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy.
That is. All right, so
Yeah.
we do see Josh playing this. Sorry, I got to get us back on
Yeah,
track because I'll
yeah,
keep
you're
talking about that.
good.
We do see Josh playing the Arven. We do get an Ends PP up, which is my favorite name for a card in Pokemon history, along with a TM Evo. And, I mean, are we just going to see an Evo play for Josh?
Yeah, I think we're gonna trade an energy away first, play the ends PP up, and then kind of, or actually no, we probably have to keep the energy now, but I think we still try to trade something, see what we can get, and then go with the Evo play from there.
And so this is one of those sequencing questions where, oh, we're actually trading the Evo.
Yeah.
And so this is a sequencing question for me because, Brian, do you know why Josh decided to trade after the Arven?
I do not, but I feel like it's something you do before the Arven.
That was
Yeah.
my thought at
Yeah.
least. Now, granted, this board is still fine. Like his board still looks okay. None of his stuff, except for maybe the Petron's really under threat. And even then, Ryan doesn't have more than one energy in the discard or an out to. Wait, how are we getting that in?
Are we?
Oh, Petron.
Oh, Petron. There we go.
Okay, and so one of the advantages here, we're saving some deck slots, and now we could see a knockout on this Duraludon, and then Josh is cruising a bit.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely not the way that we were kind of expecting this to go here. And I guess we're gonna see
No.
the poison damage go up a little bit.
But to be honest, it's clearly working.
Yeah.
And so from Ryan's end, I gotta imagine the one thing we want to see is a Gust knockout on Petron, right?
Yeah, I think that's like the big thing here because Ryan ideally wants to stay on even pricing here. So being able to just go with that and try to get his knockouts right away would be ideal here.
So one risk for Ryan, and actually it's on the reverse too, but if Ryan hits into this Zoroark and does not knock it out, there is a chance for Josh to respond with like an outrage from that Reshiram.
Yeah, so I think that's what Ryan's kind of trying to avoid is finding a way for him to work around this.
And
I
we
think there's
do
a boss at the end. here,
Spoon
too.
Squad, yes. And Zoroark. Did I spell that
Yeah.
correctly? Oh yeah, I did spell it correctly. Good job, Dan. And that's the issue though, is
Yeah.
now Ryan needs to gust. And Josh putting that Petron down, kind of enables like Ryan to actually advance his board state without having to hit into Zorak.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're missing the last R.
Am I?
Yeah.
Zora,
Yeah.
correct. I have
Yeah.
Zora.
Yeah. So, yeah. So,
Yep. Zorak.
okay. So the Arvin comes down here. Or I think we grab the Arvin off the Pokegear.
There we go. I believe we do grab the Arvin. If we have a boss, sure. If not, we just rely on Cyrano. But do we have
Yeah.
enough metal energy in the discard? Do we have enough metal energy in the discard?
I hope so.
I
Yeah.
Ryan also hopes so, to be clear.
I think Ryan wouldn't have played it if he knew he didn't.
Probably true, probably
Yeah.
true. All right, so and I'm also trying to monitor prizes on the other because we do actually, again, have 2 games going, which is lovely.
Yeah.
All right, so Ryan getting that Cyrano for Fez, Bridge, and then, yeah, another Bridge isn't a bad idea here.
Because at least you'll have both of your attackers kind of going. So I'm trying to see here.
And also, Josh doesn't really have a way to snipe the 130 HP Duraludon on the bench.
Yeah.
And it should be noted, because Mullerator, Kenneth is correct, there isn't a Relicanth in Ryan's deck.
Yeah, I was talking with him before this too, and I was asking Ryan. I was like, because I knew both Ryan and our other buddy Ben have been playing this deck for a while, and like I've had a lot of success at our local cups with it. And both of them have been pretty adamant about not playing the Relicanth.
Interesting.
Yes.
And so I think in general it makes sense. There's probably not too many matchups where it's really important, but this happens to be one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
And real quick, while we were watching Ryan play this out, because I keep forgetting, if y'all are enjoying, please follow. Like, if you feel so generous to subscribe, subscribe. I don't get any money for this. Brian doesn't get any money for
No.
this. We're here on the team just helping out. But if y'all would like to follow, be a part of this, watch our league series, our invitation, all that, we would love to have you following and participating. Our big focus, as you can see, has been trying to build up a community. And it's been awesome build it up in person. And man, I'd love to build up on the stream too. So yeah, share with your friends. We like talking about Pokemon. We
Yeah,
like when you're here.
definitely. And also following helps to keep up with all the events that we're running too, because this summer we're hoping to get, a lot more fun events for the summer. So to keep up with when those are kind of going on, you can follow us on Twitch and then follow our Twitter as well.
And Murray, I will absolutely be pushing for that as soon as I can. But
Yes.
don't worry, y'all, I am not going to push y'all to subscribe. We're just happy to be hanging with you
Yeah,
here.
we're just happy.
All right. And so, Brian, what do you think about that decision to just hit for 30?
Yeah, I think it's fine too, because I think Ryan could go for like a black belt play and just go for like a knockout on a Zoroark EX, because even though he knows that there's other liabilities on the bench that he can boss for and stuff like that, Ryan's still gonna have to find a way to get 4 other prizes on the board.
So, and actually, that math is perfect if Josh leaves the Zoroark in the active to take 1 more tick of poison damage,
Yeah,
because then 220 plus 60 is a clean knockout, and
Yeah.
then Josh is not able to respond with Reshiram.
yeah, definitely. So I think that's the reason why Ryan was thinking about doing that, just because also when going with interesting play here.
That
Yeah.
is. What do you think about this?
I don't know actually. I kind of like it just because it is hard to get the Zoroarks out of the active. So just being able to kind of just 2-shot a Zoroark can also help Josh kind of get another big Pokemon out of play here. But I mean, Ryan's got the Turo, so
And so that is, gosh, you're just teeing me up, Brian.
Yeah.
That was exactly my concern. Is hitting into the Zoroark allows Ryan to play Turo, and we know there are bridge in hand, so Ryan can very easily Turo this, go into an attacker, and finish off the 2 prizes. Then suddenly, Josh goes from a great spot to a really, really tough spot with a turn completely undone.
yeah, definitely. So Ryan's feeling pretty good about this play here now, just because he got one of his liabilities off. He's going to be able to get this Archaludon into the active and put this Zorua back into play as well.
And that's also a big deal because now Ryan's going to be able to still set up that draw engine. We still have a backup Duraludon. and Josh just hasn't advanced his board at all.
Yeah, and that's the big part too, is pretty much just relying on this Reshiram to kind of like two-shot stuff. And now it feels like that Josh kind of wasted that last turn just because he wasn't able to kind of get any sort of big prizing out of it or anything like that. And I think that's what Ryan was hoping to do, is either that Josh goes down to 4 and Ryan matches him at 4, or now Ryan ends up taking a lead.
Barney, Dialga V and V Star were so much fun to play with. I get it, but I don't miss Vs in
Yeah.
general.
I definitely don't either.
And Molerator, it absolutely does, but you probably would have wanted to save that Gust to just use the Darmanitan 2 in the first place. Because I think another advantage Josh could have had is if you force Ryan to only have one Duraludon down, you can just apply a ton of pressure to his resources.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm trying to see what Josh kind of wants to do this next turn here. And I wonder if he's going to try to go for like a Darmanitan reversal energy play.
Molerator, thank you for clarifying. We are all on the same page here. But okay, so we do see the Darmanitan. Unfortunately, there's going to be no activation of weakness because Metal Defender does turn off weakness for Bridge.
Yeah, but I think what I'm looking at from Josh's point of view is if he can get a Gus on one of those baby Duras and to take like a 2-prize knockout on that and one of the Zorwas.
Yes, that would be a big deal. But Josh is in a bit of trouble. Barney, thank you for following, by the way. I keep missing the people who do follow, so thank you all who have followed, by the
Yeah,
way.
I saw like Labella followed earlier too, so shout out to him, another regional champ.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
So the only thing is Josh is at 5 prizes, and now there are 2 low-ish HP 2-prizers on his board. So all Ryan needs to win the game are 2 Gus and another Bridge.
Yeah, and I mean he's got the other bridge in hand already. It's all about just kind of using the Gus, and I think he has a Gus in hand also as well. And it helps too that the Zorworks, the trade, helps to draw into more of those cards easily.
Exactly. So previously Zorak was very broken, mainly because it could be the primary attacker and the draw engine. But we're seeing even now for decks that can't use it whatsoever as an attacker, it's still a good draw engine.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why we saw it in like other decks like this one. It was another draw engine in Gardevoir for a little bit.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff like that.
Now, granted, it was a 1-2 line, which is a
Yeah,
little weird,
it
but
is weird.
it still was the draw engine.
Yeah, definitely. And I ended up playing that to Milwaukee. I didn't do very well with it, but I still found it to be a very helpful draw engine just because it gets a lot of the energy out of into the discard pile.
It does. And even just having that ability, and this is also kind of a tangent, it's not just the drawing cards. And we saw this with Refinement with Gardevoir.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're discarding cards and thinning out your deck. So not only do you get to see more that you want to see, as the game goes on and on, you're throwing away cards you wouldn't be able to discard otherwise. So your deck is just more and more full of good things that you want to see.
Yeah, definitely. So interesting that we're seeing the Darmanitan go into the one on the bench here.
Did we ends PP'd up to the Zorak, I thought, and not manually attached, right?
I believe so. Yeah, we use the ends PP up. Oh, so we do have the ends castle here. Oh, so we're actually going with. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, but we even have the reversal energy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, so reversal energy isn't even active. Just
Oh,
because,
you're right.
yeah.
You're right. No,
Yeah.
no, it is. Ryan has
Oh, he's
4 prizes
4.
left. Why are we not
Oh.
attaching that?
Oh, we need that.
We needed to attach that.
Oh,
My
gosh.
goodness. I have questions.
yeah. I think we're just looking to just put damage onto the active and take out the Zorua to match Ryan at 4.
Which I think is fine. And oh no, are
Oh,
we just
no.
attacking?
We're just attacking here. Oh,
How do you feel about
I don't
that
know.
decision,
I
Brian?
feel like if you
Well, I know, but I'm gonna give you a chance to be nicer with it.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I think you either got to match Ryan at 4 or you got to go for like the full like knockout.
I would
Yeah.
agree completely. And this is again, it comes back to what is your prize map? Is this
Yeah.
attack fine? Sure, yeah, it's fine. But what map is this? How is this helping you get to the end of your game plan?
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I mean, like Josh was able to get some like Darmanitan set up and stuff like that, but I don't think these are really helping him to progress his board state anymore than what it was before.
It's not, which is really, really tough. So we do see Ryan going to his turn, trading a few times, and then going for the Arvin,
Yeah.
which you probably would have liked to see a Turo there, but Arvin is still good.
Yeah, so trying to just thin out the cards that he can thin out from the deck and just find a way to get boss here. I mean, he's got some Poke Gears in deck, or in hand still, so he can kind of use that to kind of search through the deck and to get some of those bosses.
And even though we're playing the Arvid now, finding those bosses.
Oh no,
for
he
later-
played that was a vessel.
Oh, it was a vessel.
Yeah, it was vessel.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Yeah.
But even then, even if we do just play a different supporter now, knowing that you're going to be 2-shot back anyway by the Zoroark, you don't actually mind hitting into it
Yeah.
because it's not like there's a big, huge swing response. You can just 2-shot it.
Yeah, so he's eyeing the boss here now, and I'm wondering if Ryan's just going to go for another bridge here now, or if he's just going to wait for it. So taking out the Fez here, who I really like.
And I don't mind that at all. I think
Yeah.
taking 2 prizes on anything is good. If you did get stuck and you weren't able to hit through the active, that's fine. But now, all Ryan needs is a bridge and a gust, and
Yeah.
we have the game closed out.
That's all we need. So trying to see where we can go from here. Looks like Josh is looking to play the Super out here, put the Fez back.
And to be honest, getting the Fez back out isn't really that much of a liability because, I mean, we already got Petra run down.
Yeah, so there's going to be some liability out. So might as well have a liability that can help you out at the end of the day. So putting that in energy back. And I think Josh is really just in trade mode here. He's just really hoping that the trades will kind of get him pieces to work with and that he can find a way to attack again. I mean, he'll be able to knock out this Archaludon in the active here, but Ryan doesn't seem too concerned with that.
And honestly, I wouldn't be. Like, even if Josh goes down to 3 prizes remaining, that's still 3 prizes. That still means Josh has to attack again
Yeah.
after taking, like, he has to attack at least twice more. And so Ryan's going to have plenty of time. And honest, he could just hit into the Zoroark and it would be fine. Because,
Yeah.
like we were saying, if Fez comes down, there's no follow-up Zora. So, I mean, what is Josh's game plan here, Brian? How does he come back?
I think he needs an Iono that'll really stick.
That is very true.
Yeah, Iono that'll stick is definitely the big part.
And so, even
Oh,
that's hard.
That's not an Iono.
It is not. But even like you said, there's still 2 Zoroark on Ryan's end. We get to see our 2 cards, our draw for turn, and then 4 more cards on top of that. And all we need is a bridge. And we're fine.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough one. It doesn't seem like Josh is really getting any of the pieces he kind of needs. I think he can only just really just retreat back into this active Zoroark, punch with the Reshiram, and just hope that he doesn't have boss.
So the one kind of funny thing, though, that can go on here is if Josh does force an odd prize, we can get to a point where... Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think about that
Yo, that's
play?
kind of a spicy play.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
So the
I
only
don't know if it really makes much of a difference, but at least it was an out that he could play to.
listen, it was cool as hell.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
matters.
and he top second boss anyways.
Okay, well, that's less than ideal.
Yeah.
And we do see Ryan close, but also you could have tried to get a line out to attack with Petron
Yeah.
and actually close out this game. So, listen, we have had a. Oh yeah, no, we were going to be
Yeah.
drawn for a bit there, Josh.
Yeah.
Oof. So, I think this game showed. Yes, Nick, he does exactly.
Yeah.
So, when we want the Zoroark player to have the Zoroarks, not the bridge player to have the Zoroarks.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brian, what are your takeaways from this game? Because honestly, from like a hey, how do we play, grow, whatever, I think there's a lot here to work with.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, Ryan just played very textbook play. I mean, he had a prize map that he wanted to play to, and he kept to it the entire game. He used his 1 prizes really well, like the hammer in helped keep his prize map at 2-2-2.
Yep.
And then he, as soon as he took out that first big Zoroark, he just pretty much, sequenced his way to fish boss out every single turn and won the game from there.
And honestly, it's
Yeah.
very simple.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward,
It's
and
very
that is
effective.
exactly what you want.
Yeah, sometimes just like knowing how that's just one of the things that'll help you close out games a lot, because a lot of the times a lot of these decks can get a really good lead really early in the game, but then you can't close out the game. But I mean, Ryan was able to close out really well.
Which is awesome, and we love to see it. And speaking of Ryan playing very effectively, Brian, we should talk to Ryan.
Yeah.
we want to feature some local players. So, Brian, why don't you go grab Ryan,
Yeah.
and then I'll get everything set up here. And so,
Sounds good.
kind of like we said, we don't really have a great one for Bridge because it is one of the more, eh, well, less exciting decks. And this is actually something I am going to throw up here. If we look at Portland day one, Bridge isn't even on the board. And so it's a deck that I think can surprise people a bit at this point because, to be blunt, like it's underplayed for its power level. We talk about Eevee being underplayed previously. Not that people aren't playing it, but for its power level, it's pretty underplayed. And so we have Ryan here with Brian. And yes, go for it. And Brian, would you like to talk to Ryan? It's going to be easier for me because I just keep saying Ian in all my things. So here we go. So Ryan, tell us what brings good.
Dog.
What's up?
All right. So very textbook play here today. I think from our perspective, it was clean. You used your one prizers, you had your prize map kind of laid out. Like,
Right.
what were some of the things that you were kind of thinking throughout the game to kind of keep what you wanted to your plan like in place the whole game?
Yeah. So I thought when I punched with the when I punched with the little Dura, I wanted to go like evolve benched big Dura
Mhm.
and get another little Dura down. So I had 2 little Duras and then a big Dura and then Raging Hammer.
Yeah.
My thought was that he was going to patch into Zorua and then retreat.
Yeah.
To leave that thing at 50,
Mhm.
and then that would not let me just KO it with 220.
Yeah.
I had the black belt in my hand to be able to take that knockout on the next turn anyway, but then they just didn't, so I kind of got to play a supporter for free.
Yeah.
But they made the boss play, so then I Turoed, but they didn't do the Petra run thing. But if they do the boss play and then I just go Turo little hit again with like 30, and then we're kind of just in the same spot. So that was like, I mean, that turn is, those early turns are definitely the most intricate part because if I just smack, I'm obviously going to
Yeah,
die.
yeah. The outrage
so,
just trades you.
Once they put Petchy X in play, I was like, cool, that's a free 2 prizer. And then they
Yeah.
put Fez in play, I was like, cool, that's a free 2 prizer.
Yeah.
So I just have to kill 1 Zoroark, and they made it pretty easy for me to do
Yeah,
that.
definitely. So that's what we were kind of talking about as well. So we just wanted to kind of get your thoughts about kind of like how you approached it. So say that the Pecharunt didn't come down onto the board at all.
Right.
How do you kind of approach it from there? Because I mean, there's only so much that a metal defender can kind of do.
Right. So you have to go really wide with your little Duras, and there's an argument for me to should have grabbed the 4th one off of the trolley.
Mm-hmm.
Because the idea then is you just start hitting them with Raging Hammer, and then you force them to play Turo, which, I mean, some of them don't. Some of them
Yeah.
play 2, some of them play 1, and it's hard to find.
Yeah.
So you just hit them for 80. I don't play the fish, so, like, there's kind of like a funny thing if you do play the fish where we can
Yeah.
both just hit into each other for a bunch of
Yeah.
damage and then kill each other.
Yeah.
But I'm not playing the fish, so the idea is just hit him for 80 and then set it up with the big Dura. This was a very unconventional way to get enough damage on a
Yeah.
Zoroark in this game where they just took poison ticks.
Yeah. The poison ticks
But
definitely
it
helps.
works out.
I mean, the math definitely lined up
Yeah.
with it.
If they ever, I was actually really close on the first turn after they went Pecharunt 170. I almost hit Black Belt Arch, knocked them back out
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
Instead, I hit him for 30.
Yeah.
But we almost got there. I needed like one on that last trade. I needed like Vessel Arch in the first card with Vessel, and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
not quite.
Yeah.
But still, it was good enough.
Yeah, so definitely some clean play. So it's not really one of those decks that you really see in the meta too often.
Yeah.
What's one of the reasons why that you've kind of like leaned towards playing this deck so much? Because I mean, you've been playing it for a while now, and I mean, you've had some results in a local cups with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. It's reminiscent of a 2018 style Zoroark deck. Really enjoy that play style. I played a lot of Terra Box this format, and getting hand disrupted out of the game with no draw support never felt very awesome.
Yeah.
So drawing cards just feels great. Whenever your opponent plays Iono or Judge, you always feel like you're still not just at the mercy of the 4 or 2 cards
Yeah,
you draw.
definitely.
When you can draw for turn and trade a couple times, and you play 4 Pokegear, and so you can try to make the plays happen.
the deck just flows really nicely with all of the gears and all of the supporters you play. Every supporter other than Arvin is a 2 of, and then Arvin is a 4 of. So like your pokey gears feel really good. Generally, you can find the supporter you want. Yeah, I don't know. It feels really nice. It's a very like mid-range style, like tank and heal kind of deck.
Yeah, a lot of big guys in it.
But it draws a lot of cards.
Yeah.
Countercatcher in combination with like your favorite supporter is always really awesome. So that's kind of what this deck does a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So it's super, super cool. So, I mean, next format's kind of coming up. We're kind of coming to an end of this company format. NAIC is coming up. Is this one of the plays? Is this something you're thinking about? Is there anything else that's kind of on your radar? Kind of tell me what kind of decks kind of fascinates you right
For sure. This deck is something I've thought about as being like still, I think, decent in the next format. I think your Grimstar matchup is probably pretty good because you play a lot of Turos. I think your Flareon matchup is pretty fine. I think you are fine into Dragapult, fine into Guardy. I think depending on how like popular Charizard is, that matchup can be sketch in the late game because they one-shot you eventually and you don't one-shot them.
Yeah.
So that's a little sus, but I don't know how real I think Zard is. That might be a little bit.
Yeah,
but
kind of a stretch.
I don't know. I feel like it's got decent matchups still going forward. So it's a cool deck. It's fun.
For sure. Yeah, 2/2/2 is always good. And any way that you think the fish comes back into the deck next format?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I could see it.
Yeah.
It depends on. I don't know. It depends. Right now, the card is kind of fake because all the pull players are going to play around it with just Jet Headbutt. All of the like Jet Headbutt plus Monkey Dory plus Phantom Dive always kills. So they're just going to poke you for 70 and be like, all right, figure it out.
Yeah.
But the Guardy players can do a very similar thing where they just like mind bend you and then go Monkey Monkey 190. So it's like it's kind of fake into those matchups, I think. But potentially into like the Grimsnarl deck, it could be really good to just surprise blow them up. So I could see it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone knows Nerd Rage. We love Duraludon around here.
Truly.
We love Duraludon. So
truly, I've apparently become part of it. I wasn't previously.
Yeah,
but
no, you got it. It's part of it. It's like a rite of entry almost. I feel like it's part of the reason why I'm here. It's because I used to love Duraludon too.
You gotta love the Dura.
Yeah, shout out to Dan. Buddy blast. For sure. So, I mean, any other things you kind of want to mention about this, Ryan? Any shout outs?
I don't know. I mean, I think this deck is really good. I mean, shout out Ben who kind of got me on it a little bit.
Yeah, I know Ben's been playing it for a minute.
He's been playing it forever.
Yeah, he played it. He even played it to Milwaukee too, which is cool. Yeah,
Atlanta as well.
And Atlanta too.
So
Oh, cool.
He was on it
cool.
early.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of just saw him playing, and I was like, that looks like fun. I'm gonna trade some.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, it's good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I know you play it. I'm not very experienced with the EV box, but if you want to like mention it, yeah.
Are we talking about it next or now? Okay. Well, no, for next format or for current?
Well, so that's a great point, and thank you. I wasn't intending to kick you out, Brian, but thank you. I'll kick you out. Hi, I'm Dan. I'm not actually
Dan.
Brian. Hi, Ryan.
Hi.
So can you transition because I had the list up there. So I have a picture for this format because those are the formats we have available to us. TCG Live just changed over to the new format, but that was like 3 hours ago, so here we are. So this is, and Callie saying Bridge is the GOAT. Those are animals and buildings, and I don't know if I agree, but
Callie, thanks for coming to the stream.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. So this is current format. This is one of the top 8 lists, Owen Dahlgaard's list from Portland, I believe. I mean, is this similar to what you'd play right now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is just, this is pretty standard. I think it was Ian Robb originally and like the whole Iowa crew who played this list with out Energy Search and Third Water. And I think that's the only change that Dalgard made and found success with. So this is pretty much the stock like starting point for EVs. All these cards in this deck are really good. This is just the tried and true so far.
So that's fair. We probably could have tried to play with Dustin Rivals, but and so that makes sense, Ryan. And the only change that I wanted to ask you about, because I didn't take that picture for this, but Tyler Whalen actually had an Umbreon.
Okay.
And Umbreon has the first attack, Confuse 160, knocks out a Guardy.
Yep.
Second attack, discard all energy, take a prize.
Yep.
Is that attack ever used in this deck?
Probably not.
Okay,
I'm pretty
cool.
sure the Umbrani is just in there to one-shot the clean Gardevoir.
Okay, and that would make sense. It's a pretty good attack for exactly that
Yeah.
matchup. All right, so then talking about Destined Rivals, what changes? Is this deck still real? Is there something we need to tweak?
I think this deck is definitely still good. A lot of your popular Angelite matchups, Dragapults, namely maybe Charizard, you gain one as well, are still very prominent, as well as I think there's nothing really that comes into the format that kicks this out.
Honestly,
The-
Angelite's probably pretty good into Grimmsnarl too.
Yeah. So the Grimmsnarl, it depends. Like if you want to tech for Grimmsnarl and really beat it like really, really hard, you can play Leafeon EX.
Which, to be fair, isn't a huge amount of committed
No,
slots.
it's one card.
Right.
You can maybe play Grass Energy if you're gonna play the 9 energy anyway. This list has Energy Search, so finding a spot for Grass would be a little harder. But if you play like the 9 energy with the 3 water, you just cut the water for your Grass and then play Leafeon, and then you do 230, which is 460 to Grimmsnarl, and heal 100 damage from all of your bench Pokemon, which is
Yes.
everything that deck doesn't want you to do.
Oh my lord. Okay. So you're saying it's pretty good in that matchup.
Right.
And so, Ryan, I try not to over tech about things. You know the lists I
Yeah,
play,
yeah.
except for Manaphy. I try to cut everything out of the deck.
Yep.
So why would you not play that one card to just win like a possible 10 to 12% deck in the meta?
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay,
I
all right,
think you
fair
should,
enough.
I think
Good.
you should.
I'm glad we
Um,
cleared that up. Thank you.
I think you could try to play the matchup without it and try to like see how much ground you get by like Angelite to Frostlass, and then they punch your Sylveon probably, and then you go like Burning Charge, reset up my Sylveon, and like it seems okay.
Okay.
But if you just don't want to think about the matchup like at all, you could just play the Leafeon and write it off as like a 90% matchup.
Correct, especially because you can put down the Eevee, evolve it in the same turn,
Yep.
take 0 damage
Yep.
to it from Frostlass, Crystal attach,
Yep.
and just end it. And they go, oh, attack, and then you just end it again.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
All
it's
right, all right. So what the lesson you should take from the stream today is if you want to play this and you don't like Grimmsnarl, just throw a Leafeon and
Yep.
a Grass Energy.
Yep.
And to be honest, if you really want to be aggressive, you could probably play Leafeon without the Grass Energy.
You can.
It's probably a
'cause
little more
you
aggressive.
play the fire and the water anyway, and then you just need the grass for the attack cost on the backup.
Yeah.
So, which is the crystal. Seems
Makes
good.
sense. Well, and the first attack I think also does 60 per all energy attached
That
to
attack
all
is
of your
also good.
all of your opponent's
Yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if they
yeah.
even have 3 grass or 3 dark energy
Yeah.
down, you just one shot it for crystal attach anything.
Right.
So guys, play Leafeon. It's fun, it's good, it's cool.
I think the Leafeon is good.
Yes. But are there any other changes though you would make?
It depends on just like what the format develops into, which we don't fully know yet. For now, I think this is a really great jump off point for testing. With like all of these cards are just super good. The one thing is maybe like the Brock, you could play something else if we don't think the Itchy Pollen decks are going to be as popular. But the Brock is like just responsible, so it's not bad. I would just leave it.
All right, so I have one more question for you, and I'll let you get back because I
For
think
sure.
pairings are up. How good is Hydreigon into the next format?
I don't know.
How good is Hydreigon into this format?
It seems okay.
It,
seems
it
fine.
does. It was okay.
It doesn't seem awesome, but it's like it seems okay.
Not super mediocre, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
it's
You can-
fine.
You can win with
It
mediocre.
seems okay.
All right, perfect. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for your time with us. Appreciate it. I'll let you get to your round, and we
Peace
will
out.
certainly talk soon.
Thanks, y'all.
Because you're already locked in. You're qualified.
We are.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. So you're just grinching points today. I love it. We're here for the cash. All right, I love it. Well, what's up? Yeah. Get them started. Do you want to just transition over? So, as we were talking, Brian was getting everything set up, and we have our next matchup at 3-0. Yet another Gardevoir, y'all. In case you haven't picked up on the nuances here, I've been saying Pulse best deck in format. Man, Brian, I'm starting to think I'm wrong. I'm starting to think Guardy's probably best deck in format.
That's what I've been saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've already been on this page.
Yeah.
I'm just the one catching up
yeah,
here.
kind of, but I don't know. It's definitely a difficult deck to play, and a lot of the boys been telling me you got to put down the cup now, because the Guardy is very difficult to play. So
Guardy is
Yeah.
put down the cup,
Yeah.
sweet child of
Yeah.
mine. Yeah. So yes, this is a family stream, Brian.
yeah.
But no, it really is. It is a hard deck to play. It requires a lot of good decision making, a lot of thinking through all your
yeah,
plays.
and one bad decision can pretty much lose you entire game.
Yes.
Yeah.
We told them they could start, right?
I told them they could. Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Y'all can start. All right, sweet. Anyway, so we are getting into this round. We do see Goldango Dragapult, which is one deck we haven't seen so far today on the mainstream.
Yeah, it's definitely one that's been kind of like not really played as much as the format's kind of gone. It was really popular at the beginning of the format, and like around the time of like, I feel like Milwaukee and like Monterey kind of time.
Yeah.
It was like really, really popular. It's probably the peak of it. And it's kind of just like completely dipped in play from there. Like it hasn't really had any crazy like um placements from there.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of confusing to me, honestly, because it's still a very good deck. And Kenneth, I will not money match you on anything versus anything because I have a child and do not play nearly enough. But getting to the game, so I can deflect from that. So we see Christian Senior going into the deck, getting out at least one Gimme Ghoul. I gotta imagine we're gonna try for two, and then we're probably gonna try for Dreepy or two because if we could just set up a board of 4 draws, like that's so big throughout this whole game.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to take advantage of the Goldango right away and be able to have like a way to kind of just start taking prizes also helps as well. Really, really important.
It
So
does.
yeah, so Christian seems to get down hit 3 gimme goals and 1 Dreepy here. So kind of just hoping that Alex isn't able to get a Badoo down here, and so that Christian can kind of get the eSearch Pro kind of going.
And so Senior and Alex actually have both qualified for the Invitational.
Yeah.
So they are here. Alex literally walked in and said, I'm here to Grinch spots or points from people. And I
Yeah.
love it. But so Senior has a pretty good board. I don't see an Evo or anything. And I only see 1 Lightning Energy, but
Doesn't seem like he really needs it right now.
no, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get item locked here, he can kind of just. Oh, I don't know if I agree with that.
Actually, is that an Arvin in hand?
But yeah, because like I was thinking like. as
Wait,
long
I
as-
think Senior went first.
Yeah, he did go first.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And so honestly, going first, that is an insane start.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Is because as long as he doesn't get item locked here, he can pretty much just start taking prizes right away.
Agreed. And I actually agree. I don't know why we attached that lightning energy.
Yeah, because you can kind of just attach, the Goldango evolve, and then as long as eSearch Pro is still in the deck, you Arvin for eSearch Pro, and you start taking prizes.
Wait. Is that a continuous coin toss?
I believe so.
So there may have been a small line where Senior was considering going in with the attack and the active, but seems like that was not the move. But we do see
Yeah.
a Dracloak off the top, so we're gonna start making some moves here for Senior.
Yeah, so he's gonna be able to get some pieces here starting off. I think that's a Turo or a Dreepy.
And if it is a Dreepy, I mean that's a great one to play down.
Yeah.
Let's see what he goes with.
Or yeah, I was
Okay.
about to say
We did go with the Dreepy.
or we could not pay attention to anything we
No,
say.
they actually listened to us once,
Yeah,
Brian.
I
It's
know.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't happen all the time, but
It's never, but it's still nice. And so I guess, do you think we see the Energy Search Pro here, or do we just see an Earthen Vessel?
I think either one. I mean, at this point, I think one of the things you kind of have to think about is how likely is this entire eSearch Pro hand going to get Iono to the bottom of the deck, because it definitely happens. But yeah, I think you can kind of get away with just using the Earthen Vessel for now, because Earthen Vessel will pretty much get you the metal energy to attack, and at least another energy as well.
And honestly, I think that's all you would want, because I think using the eSearch Pro here is a lot of resources for very little payoff.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you can keep it in the deck for an Arvin later or an Iono, like, it'll make your next turn so much easier.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons, though, a lot of people like to put the eSearch Pro into hand right away is because when you get to the end of the game, a lot more of your energies are actually in the discard pile instead of inside the deck. So it's not really like you're getting that much utility out of the eSearch Pro.
True.
So it's kind of has some differences in like how much effectiveness it can have during each stage of the game. And it also depends on like the matchup as well, because like, I mean, all of these Pokemon are so little right now besides the Mew that like eSearch Pro could like not really do much, but if it was like a mirror match or something like that, when there's a lot more Goldengos that are in play, it could also be more effective that way as well.
And that's 100%. And that was actually going to be my next question is, do we knock out this Cleffa?
I think we do. Yeah, I don't think there's any sort of reason to not do it, because I mean, you sort of just start taking your prizes here, and hopefully by the time as long as like Alex doesn't get, well, he has Candy Guardy, but if he didn't have Candy Guardy right away, then he can start trading a lot better.
Honestly, Candy Guardy's great for Christian
Yeah.
because he'd rather take the 2 prizes early before he
That's
starts
true.
getting addled. The only, and I don't disagree with it, the only thing I was thinking is that you have Evo TM in hand. You don't have a super duper strong board yet.
Yeah.
Would there be a world where it makes sense to just go Evo for 2 more Goldengo?
Yeah, and I think there definitely is a world where you can do it. And I know one of my opponents in Milwaukee definitely like saw that I was playing Gardevoir, one of the slower decks, and instead of trying to just take out like a bunch of my little guys early, they ended up just going with a bunch of TM Evos so they can get like a full board of just Goldengos and Dracloaks.
And I mean, honestly, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like getting to set up such a like strong, powerful board is a great thing. And speaking of fantastic, that draw for Alex gave him Secret Box, a
Yeah.
draw supporter. We have a monkey. We have more energy. That hand is stacked.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So I mean, there's a world here where Alex is able to Drifloon knock out this Goldengo in the active here and kind of punish Senior here.
And that to me is like the risk, obviously, is that when you do have a weak board, if they do take out your primary attacker, draw engine, all of the above, it can put you in a really bad spot.
Yeah, and I mean another one of those things to think about is he's kind of eyeing the counter catcher, and I mean since Senior is at 5 prizes right now, counter catcher is also active as well. But I don't think it's gonna be something we kind of go for. I think it is gonna be that Drifloon Bravery Charm kind of play here, and hopefully gonna try to see the amount of energies that Alex can get into the discard pile.
That was a wonderfully subtle way for you to tell me, Dan, Christian took a prize.
Yeah.
Please fix the counter. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
All right, so we do see the Secret Box get the Research, Earth and Vessel, Bravery Charm. And no Stadium, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think the reason to not get the stadium here is because when you play Gardevoir, a lot of the times this in this matchup, people like to use the jamming tower, the one of jamming tower, as a way to trade into you. So if you're able to preserve your stadiums, it'll help you to one, make their setup a little bit slower, and then two also allows you to take out the jamming tower, so you can also use your bravery charms as well.
And there is one jamming tower in Senior's list, so that
Yeah.
is an out. And man, Alex is all right, that was a horrible pun, but he
Yeah.
is literally cruising here and just burning through his deck, getting all the pieces he needs. We have another Ralts down. We have a Drifloon down with a Bravery Charm on it, Monkey Dory. I mean, what else could they possibly want?
Yeah, so I think there's 3 energy in the discard right now. There's 1 on the active, so being able to get 1 more energy would bring to 5, and that energy would help to get the 300 damage to knock out this Goldengo here. What they're trying to talk about here.
I think Senior's doing some math on like search out for the boards for Alex. But I think everything is above board. And
Yeah,
yes, 240 Monkey does do it.
240 Monkey does get it done. So, yeah, so this play definitely works.
And we do see the stadium. We don't actually see an energy. So if it is only 3 energy in the discard, we're not quite there, but I think we have 4.
Yeah, so there's the 4th one's on the EX, so we do have the play here. So 20 on there. So 4 energy.
Yep, you are absolutely correct.
Yeah, 240 and then 260 exactly with the Monkey Dory.
I mean, that is like this is new Guardy.
Yeah.
That is such aggressiveness that turn 2 you go in and knock out a stage 1 EX. That is wild.
Yeah, I know Candy Guardy is such a crazy play to be able to have. Like I feel like if you have that play, you can pretty much just outpace your opponent as like the slower deck, which is crazy to think about.
Now, on the flip side, Senior now has a counter catcher. We have Fez. We just found another Goldengo. I mean,
Yeah, the Goldengo is huge.
we had a Night Stretcher to get another Goldengo. I mean, Senior's hand's actually really good.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is really good right now as well. So trying to see here, he's able to draw 2 here, and there's the
Oh,
eSearch Pro,
man.
and the eSearch Pro is huge here as well. Just because now, this is one of those instances where maybe the eSearch Pro can kind of help you get over that hump and take out that Gardevoir EX.
100%. So the only thing I think I would have liked to see, just because always sequencing matters, is I probably would have liked to see Senior use Dracloak first. And the only reason I say this is I normally would say get the most data and then use the make decisions after that.
Yeah.
But this deck plays Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking.
Oh, so only going for 3 energy here when there's also some other ones you could have grabbed. What do you think about that?
My guess is he's knocking out the Drifloon.
Yeah.
but I honestly don't know for sure.
Yeah, because there are like the fire energy. There is like other energies that are in there, and I feel like if you're using the ace spike, you might as well get everything.
So I would agree because
Yeah.
I'd want to put it in the discard.
Yeah, and you have the counter catcher, so
And we haven't used Dracloak yet.
yeah. Okay, so let's see what the Dracloak can grab here. Buddy Poffin or Arvin.
We haven't used a supporter yet, so
Yeah.
Arvin could help.
Definitely.
I think for me, the reason I say this is if you Dracloak into Cypher Maniac's code breaking, that is your only way to search out Jamming Tower.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
this is a turn where Jamming Tower would be enormously valuable because if you could countercatcher up Gardevoir or Fez or Mew, Jamming Tower to knock out the Drifloon and clear the Gardevoir from the board, that is a huge swing turn and gets you down to 2 prizes.
Yeah, definitely. So, wondering now if we're gonna draw another card here.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Now, granted, just knocking out this Drifloon isn't terrible.
Yeah,
Like, it would be a lot of work for Alex to respond. Christian would be on even prizes, so Countercatcher wouldn't be active. And there would be a chance to have a pretty good response, but I don't know, man.
yeah,
This is going to be tough.
definitely is. So it looks like we're just gonna go Ultra Ball, double Evo. This is probably to grab another Dracloak, I believe.
I got to imagine, because I got to
Yeah.
imagine that's the only Pokemon left to draw with on the board. The only thing is whether or not it'd be worth it to go in and get another Gimme Ghoul. Never mind, there
Yeah.
are no other Gimme Ghouls.
Yeah, so we're grabbing the other Dracloak here. Probably trying to, as you were kind of saying earlier, try to grab that Cypher.
Unfortunately, Cypher doesn't help anymore, though.
Yeah,
Because we don't have any other ways to draw. And so
Yeah.
honestly, watching Leo the cup on Sunday was kind of a big insight for me because he would always wait to use the main Goldango until last
Yeah.
for that exact purpose.
yeah, and I've seen a lot of players doing that.
And that is exactly it. We see oh, senior can't take both. Can you
Oh,
go or here,
uh,
I'm gonna go yell at him.
Oh wait, he's putting it down. Oh, probably get him a.
Okay. Hold up.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, so we're trying to. Yeah. It was the counter.
That's why we got the stream.
Yep.
See this stuff.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Dan, for doing that.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's good that we have the stream sometimes.
Dude, just again, we don't need to mess everything up. We can
Yeah.
just fix it early.
Yeah.
And so this is the issue because number one, it's awesome we have this. We're going to be set up brilliantly for next turn. And gosh, this would have been so much more powerful if we had been able to draw into it now.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, it would have been nicer too because I feel like if you take that 3-prize turn and you go to 2, you pretty much just need one more big knockout to win the game.
You
but-
need a gust, and you're going to
Yeah.
draw a bajillion cards.
Yeah. But looks like we're just gonna go.
Yeah, this is also then really
Yeah.
curious why we didn't go get the rest of the energy with Energy Search Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, is there reasoning that we're missing here, Brian?
I don't know. That's why I'm like so confused about it. Yes, I guess you get the 4 there. 3, 4. And and if he would have grabbed that other energy, he would have had the exact 7 that he needed to make the knockout on the Gardevoir EX.
For sure. But
Yeah.
I think what he may be saying is he's going to go after Pheasantipity here.
Yeah, which I guess I'm not too mad at because Fez is like really good to take advantage of. But at the same time, now this Drifloon can just come back up and just take the knockout on this Goldango.
100%. The other thing I would
Yeah.
say is I would have liked to see him keep a Metal Energy in hand
Yeah,
because a Metal Energy would have allowed him to manually attach rather than need to play a recovery card to get a Metal since
yeah.
if this active guy is knocked out, all the Metal are going to be in the discard.
Yep, and then it's like there's a lot of disruption that the deck plays. I mean, Alex already has Iono in hand, so now it's just going to be another. It's going to be harder to kind of put him behind.
It is. And now there were no guarantees he was going to hit the tower off of the like a cipher off of the reverse
Yeah.
draw, anything like that. But like you said, it is now going to be way tougher for Senior.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean,
Well, actually, I rescind my statement. If Alex takes 2 prizes here, Iono gets Senior the exact 2 cards he put on top after Cypher. Senior could just have game.
that's true. Yeah, that is true. because, I mean, 3 prize turn, you can always, you don't have to take it at that certain point. You can
Right.
use a 3 prize turn to win the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It can come
yeah.
at any point, and we even were talking about that with Clef last game.
Yeah,
There's no urgency to do that unless there's a way for your opponent to play around it.
yeah.
So I think Alex plays at well, actually, if Alex is playing Michael's list, he does not play a Turo, but I think Alex plays Turo,
Yeah.
and we see the counter catcher on the Pheasantipity. Interesting.
To play the stadium already.
It is.
Yeah.
And it looks like we do see the Iono. I mean, obviously, Senior played around this with the Cypher. So we'll see what he
Yeah.
draws.
So he got everything he pretty much wanted.
I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. Oh, Turo was boxed away. I thought that was a professor's research, but kind of glad you're on it. Yes.
Yep.
So Fez is going to go down. We do have Gust. We do have Energy available from hand. We're going to draw a crap ton of cards.
Yeah, there's a lot that he can do here. And now that you have the superior, you don't really have to worry about finding a way to get the energy.
And so this is tough because Alex can move one damage counter, but that's it.
Yeah, because you don't want to move too many damage counters to where it hurts the amount of damage that you can do.
And I mean, to be fair, you actually. Oh. Actually, we want to move it to the Gimme Ghoul. I actually would have loved to see that 2 damage moved off of it to the Pheasantipity.
And what's-
Because you would be able to. Oh, wait, am I doing bad math?
Oh, I think I know what you were trying to say. Because you want to be able to still be able to do the same amount of damage.
But keep it out
Yeah,
of
of
range
Jamming
of Jamming
Tower.
Tower.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think the math worked out perfectly, so I don't think that would have been feasible
Yeah.
unless we attached another energy.
Yeah, I think you would have needed another Monkey Dory too.
Which, to be honest,
Yeah.
though, we only needed 1 Monkey Dory if we
Yeah.
attached 1 more energy and moved it,
Yeah.
but this is still fine.
Yeah.
All right, so now for Senior, Jamming Tower, Gust on a 2-prize or knockout still wins the game.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what we do here. So I think we just kind of just see what we can draw first, right? I think we don't manipulate the deck, right?
So in the last hand, we did have superior energy retrievals. We didn't have Gust or anything. We
Yep.
had a couple energy. So I think it would be okay to do that, but it all depends on what Senior's looking for.
Yeah. Okay, so not really grabbing too much here right now.
And we didn't see another supporter. I mean, Boss is okay, but Alex is down to 2 prizes remaining, I say,
Ooh,
as I remind
Cypher.
myself. All right.
Cypher doesn't really do much here, though.
It doesn't, because I think we only play 1 counter catcher.
Yeah, that and there's only 1 Goldango to draw cards from.
Yes. And again, this is why we
Yeah.
want to use
And
the
Versho,
lower
I
draw
agree.
first.
I agree with Versho on the chat. I feel like you use the bench Dengo before the cloaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree with that. And that is that difference of
Yeah.
guaranteed, like with no information, followed by decision making.
Yeah. And I mean, this would have been fine where he's at right now if there's a way to put the Fez back.
Yes.
Yeah. Because like you have the Cypher and then you could, you could play Fez and then you could Cypher for everything you need to win the game. But there's no nothing we can do here now.
And so I wonder if Jamming Tower is in deck. Because maybe that's part of the reason why he hasn't been playing for that, is that we
Yeah.
don't have access to it.
That could be an option too, or a reason.
And so then, Brian, what do you think is the right move here?
Oh, it's so tough. I think you it's tough too because you take the knockout here and you kind of just hope that Alex doesn't have everything they need to win the game. But I don't even know. Because, you gust something else up, you take, a prize, but then I feel like the Drifloon just comes back up and blows it up.
So the Drifloon would
Yeah.
only blow it up if Alex has access to more energy.
Yeah, which they probably can.
I'm sure they can.
Yeah.
The question is just whether or not they do,
Yeah.
as silly as it sounds.
Yeah.
And then you can just knock out the Drifloon, which is also fine, but it doesn't feel great. The other weird angle you could take is is you could gust up and hit a Guardy for 300.
Yeah, I like that idea too. Just because now it's like thinking like, oh, do you have Turo or we could just not do that.
Or we could just not do. I don't
Yeah.
I don't mind this, but the issue is if Alex discards a single energy, you just lose.
Yeah.
And yes, Versho, 100%. I think you're exactly right. That's why you draw with the non-2 card draw first to see if you find Cypher to then get both of the cards.
Yeah.
All right, so we do see the knockout. Senior takes 2 prizes, go to 1 remaining. And now it just comes, can Alex discard an energy?
Yeah.
Well, we
he's
have
got
an energy.
multiple, yeah.
And I mean, that's just going to do it. Because if we
Yeah.
get to 9 damage counters on there, that's 270. That is
Yep.
enough to clean up the Goldengo. And Alex goes to 4-0.
Yeah, it goes to 4-0, and I'm pretty sure 4-0 pretty much gets you like almost there.
Well, so it's 6 rounds.
Oh, we have a 6-rounder today?
We have a 6-rounder
boy.
today because we have 35 players, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And you know what, Brian? I'm going to tell you, I'm a little sad it's only 35 players.
Yeah.
And I love that our turnout has been so good that it's only
Only.
35 players.
Yeah, and it was crazy too because when we were talking about the cup here, our cup hit that 1.5 kicker.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And I'm glad you mentioned that because
Yeah.
we had our our cup on Sunday, and we had not a lot of people watching because, you know, Portland was happening. But, yeah, we hit $1,500 worth of prizes.
Yeah, I know a lot of people weren't thinking, but I knew we were going to hit the kicker.
I didn't. I did not know that. I am
knew it.
glad you were so confident.
Yeah, I knew we were going to hit the kicker because, like, I feel like our locals have been so good with turnout lately that they were all going to come out here anyways.
No, and I completely agree with that. I think the really nice part is we have built an awesome community here. And listen, y'all listening in, you are a part of it. Like, it's
Yeah.
awesome getting to come talk to you. So Brian and I just don't yell into the void.
Yeah, or just like talk to ourselves.
Right, exactly. All right, so let me do this because I think it would be cool to talk about this. I'm going to throw up Guardy real quick. I'm going to
Yeah.
grab Alex, and then Brian, do you want to talk to Alex a bit?
Yeah, sure.
So, and if you don't mind reminding the people why we're talking to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, we want to bring a lot of our local players here just to show off, like, you know, some of the talent that we have around the area. It's cool that we can kind of have a lot of these local players play here and kind of sharpen up their skills here. So we want to give them their flowers too. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do here, as well as we don't have Bryce here. So we're trying to use do our best here to like fill in some of the time as well that he would have been able to bring up extra lists, do this and that, because we're not as tech savvy as he is. So we're kind of filling the void up by just like having a lot of player interviews, and we've had really like interesting interviews so far. A lot of different players here of different calibers and stuff like that. So crazy to kind of go here. Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up?
All right. Flip this guy out here. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, just find a seat.
I'll get you guys set up. You can talk for a second.
Yeah.
Davison's Guardy list.
Yeah. Is this your list?
No.
Okay. So Alex, hello.
Hi.
How you
how's it going?
doing?
Good.
Good. So, you know, played Guardy. I mean, you've locked up your invite already. You said you were gonna come in and Grinch some points away, and it looks like you're kind of on the
I'm
path of
getting
doing
there.
so. So you're definitely in a good position to do so. So we got a Guardy list up here. I guess talk about you know, why like you know. Let's just start first with why pick Guardy? Yeah.
I mean,
you've been playing it for a while.
yeah, I did a lot of testing. I was originally on Box for this format, but after seeing Henry Chow just, you know, blow up with the deck and seeing how consistent it can be with like 8 draw supporters,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
then it just has good matchups into like almost everything in the meta, and then the bad matchups are like such a low percentage because it loses to everything else. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Definitely. Yeah, so I guess talk about like some of the things that help you kind of sharpen up your play because it's a difficult deck to play.
Mhm.
Some of the things that kind of helped you like learn the deck, and I guess you know what keeps you coming back to it.
Yeah, so I've been playing Guardy basically since Paldea evolved on and off. So it's just a lot of practice with sequencing and knowing which cards to discard to, you know, get enough energy in the
Yeah.
discard. It was a big shift ever since losing Refinement,
Yeah, definitely.
but I mean, Ultra Ball, Professor's Research, it gets you there. So
Yeah, definitely. So I guess if Dan, you can kind of bring up the list here now. So this is Michael Davidson's championship list. I guess like what are some of your thoughts on the list, and then let's kind of go through like some of the differences between this one and what you brought today.
right. I really
like this list. I just didn't have enough time to practice with it for
Yeah.
tonight. The Rapska something I've considered since the format started, ever since losing Manaphy,
Yeah.
and it's just really good into Dragapult as well. But I kind of like wrote it off because Clefairy kind of just made the Dragapult matchup like so much better.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah. And I guess what are some of the differences between what did you bring to this one?
sure. I'm playing 3 Charm. It's really similar to Brent Tonnison's list. I just
Yeah.
added a few things. I cut one of the Night Stretchers for a Super Rod, so I'm playing 3-1. And then I cut an Ultra Ball from UEX because I feel like it's really good into a lot of like the iffier matchups
Yeah.
because it lets you like if you put a charm on it and double monkey, you can copy Roaring Moon and put like 6 damage counters somewhere.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's really crazy. One of my favorite things to do in Zoroark, which I know is like an iffy matchup for Guardy, is if they have like a Darumaka and Darmanitan, I would double monkey onto the active Darmanitan, and then I would copy it, and then knocking out both of those, so Zoroark didn't have that snipe potential.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things you can kind of do with Gardevoir, which is why I think it kind of has been at the top of the game for so long. Man, I really want to try out this list though. I haven't had the chance either to kind of play
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
It looks like a
definitely some,
lot of fun.
yeah, definitely has some cool things. One candy's kind of suspicious, but I think the 3 Evo
The
kind of
Evo
makes
gets
up
you there.
it. Yeah.
Just don't prize all 3.
Yeah, I know, right? But that didn't seem to slow
Doesn't
down
matter. No.
slow down Michael. So yeah. How about like going into next form? Are you going to NEIC?
No, unfortunately, it's just
Yeah.
not in the cards.
Yeah, for sure. So if you were going, what are some of the things you would have been considering to play for the event?
So I would be considering this build of Guardy, maybe cutting the Rapska Relor for Shaman and going back up to 3 monkeys. I was also considering Eevee Box with Leafeon
Mhm.
in there because Grimmsnarl's pretty good into this deck. I know it's more like a 55-45 in favor of Grimmsnarl, and you can win in skill diff, but
Yeah.
it's just a scary matchup, and I feel like people who are good and trying to counter meta will do well with that deck.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean Gardevoir is still looking like a pretty good play for NEIC. What do you think of some of the other big decks you would have considered to play?
I think Terrabox is in a good spot, just because of all the evolving decks.
Yeah. Even
Um,
with the Shaman in the format?
Right, because it's like they could always whiff it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
true.
And besides that, I really wanted to put in the time to mess with like the Ethan's Ho-Oh and Armor Rouge deck. It's probably bad, but I really would want to test that. Yeah, I mean, I think Raging Bolt, Dragapult, Guardy, the usual suspects are all going to do well next format.
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing really substantially changes. I think Terrabox and Raging Bolt with Owl specifically will go down a bit just because of the Rocket's Watchtower, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, the Rocket's Watchtower. So a lot of these new cards,
Mhm.
even though they're not new archetypes, are also going to have a big impact in our
Mhm.
format, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, I didn't even think about the Watchtower for a second. Like, the Watchtower is kind of crazy.
Mhm.
That could have a lot of impact in the format. Same with some of these like other like Rocket supporters as well. I mean, like it's pretty much like Guzma's back, which is kind of crazy to think
It's
about too.
crazy.
Yeah, it's lacking EX.
Lacking EX.
Yeah. So a lot of cool things here. But yeah, anything else you kind of want to mention?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just here for
Yeah.
fun. It's always fun being at Nerd Locals. I was able to finish my semester at school,
Yeah,
which was
there we
keeping
go.
me from here. So I missed everyone here, so I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess we want to ask some of our locals like what some of their thoughts about the league has been so far. So I guess tell us like what you kind of think about it so far, what you like, what you don't, what you think of like having an invitational and stuff like that.
I think it's a great idea. The Nerd Rage gaming community has already been like amazing, but just to have something for locals to chase, even if they're not going for the Pokemon Worlds invite, it's really cool. And I see there's like a few other card shops adopting the same idea, and I just think it's an overall positive thing to do. I like the automatic invite system, so you know people who maybe maxed on cups or challenges but also care about this they have a reason to come out and play.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of like our goal was to find a reason to keep players coming back into the store. And that's why, like, with our point system, we kind of encourage players to play out the entire time here. you know, just to keep coming back and all that stuff. So it wasn't really like a race; it was more like an endurance race, you know. So it's not like who can get to the top the quickest; it's who can stay there like the longest. So that's kind of like what we were kind of thinking about doing. So yeah, thanks for your thoughts about that. Anybody you want to shout out before we move on to the next round, so we can get you going?
Yeah, sure. Shout out to my girlfriend Abby. I've just been texting her updates in between rounds today and on Sunday, and she's just been cheering me on. So
Yeah,
shout out
for
to her.
sure. Shout out to her. So thanks again for coming out for today, and we're gonna be looking forward to having you at the Invitational.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now you all have to listen to me talk again. But Brian, honestly, and Alex, thank you for your feedback on it. I appreciate it. And yeah, that door is horrible. Let's not destroy the mystery of how high quality our streaming
Yeah.
setup is. One thing I want to note is it's okay. Hold on. We have the store actually has had a lot of great upgrades, and our door handles has not been one of them. So Brian, can you actually talk a little bit about how many people we've actually had come out and what our numbers have been?
Yeah, I actually don't know off the top of my head. We have had a lot of people come out. We have like 122 per Dan, 122 people, which is kind of crazy to think about. 122, and like one of our teammates was telling us that we have new players pretty much every single week.
Well, and that's exactly the cool
Yeah.
thing. We've had 5 to 8 or 10 new players every week, and I mean, that's awesome. And I think
Yeah.
from my big focus has always been, okay, cool. That's so cool people came out. Now, how do we actually build a community that retains those people? And I don't care from a money perspective. I don't get any money for it. But more
Yeah.
from a community perspective, like, dude, how do we make this a place where people want to come play?
Yeah, and that's the big thing. That's kind of the reason why we did this too. And it's like kind of like what you said. It's not for like monetary reasons. It's just we want more people to come through the door. We just want more like people to play, more people to just bring their ideas, their innovations, stuff like that. Just so we can have a very diverse kind of cast of people to have in our stream, week by week.
100%. And I think that's one of the big parts of the community that I love is that there's so many different kinds of people in different places,
Yeah,
different ages,
Different
different
walks
everything.
of life.
Yeah.
Different everything. Yeah.
It is awesome to see. Luckily, they're not all therapists. Otherwise, these would all get super
Yeah, or all
emotional every
nurses.
time we have a locals. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, so Brian, we actually haven't talked much, you and I, about some of the decks come out, but I'm
Yeah.
going to take the opportunity because I'm in charge and talk about Dust Noir Dragapult.
Yes.
Because
Let's talk about it.
as Kenneth was threatening me with, I freaking love this deck. And
Yeah.
I think, though I'm starting to get pushed back on it, I think this is still the best deck and the deck that the entire format is warped around.
Yeah, I still think that even though a lot of like people say Gardevoir is the deck to beat, it still requires like crazy, crazy amounts of skill. And same thing with Dragapult.
Yes.
Same thing with that, but I feel like Guardy has like a way higher skill ceiling than Dragapult does. And Dragapult, I think, still is like the big bad in the room, and it's the deck that you need to be able to beat if you want to be able to do well in a regional.
So it is not polite for me to threaten to fight you. However, I will say I actually think Dragapult is as skill intensive or more than Guardy.
Yeah,
And I think the reason is Dust Noir. So
Yeah.
obviously, like picking damage counter placement, like planning out lines, especially when Guardy now is less of a deck that sucks early.
yeah,
Like your turn 2 or 3 are actually pretty good. Dragapult's a deck that sucks for the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Or 3 turns, 4
yeah,
turns.
definitely.
But the issue is Dragapult's like one of the best decks ever after that.
Yeah, definitely.
So being able to have a deck that is that strong but that slow, I mean, it's almost Hydreigon level.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I kind of push on this is because also when to use Dusclops, Dust Noir, using Monkey Dory, there's so many pieces here that require such decision making. And I don't mean this to like shoot down Guardy, but I think Guardy's complexity decreased slightly once you got rid of Refinement.
Yes,
And once you got
absolutely.
rid of Arcana.
Yeah, and I feel like this version of Guardy is definitely easier to play than the last one. Like I remember the last iteration of like the triple monkey Guardy that was played in like EUIC
Oh,
and
sweet
the
baby
event
Jesus.
before.
Yes.
I feel like that's like the hardest version of Guardy, and I don't know why I decided to play that one. But like, yeah, that was definitely the hardest version to play of the deck, and the most skill intensive mirror as well.
And I mean, that makes sense because there was just so much to it.
Yeah.
Like, the deck had so many pieces, so many attributes, just, it was wild.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, with Dragapult too, I feel like the more skill intensive version of it is actually the Slowpolt.
So,
Yeah.
do tell, because yet again, Brian, not that
Yeah.
I'm threatening to fight you, but I
Yeah.
disagree. But carry
Yeah,
on.
I feel like the slow pult. I feel like the way that you play it is much different. The play style of it, you kind of have to like know like how you can play from behind like better, because you don't have stuff like Dusk Ops or Dusk Noir to kind of cheat your big knockouts and multiple knockouts.
Ah, okay,
So
okay.
I feel like when you play the slow pult, because it plays much slower than this deck as well. This version of like without the ghosts. So being able to kind of know like what energies you can use, like knowing when to use the basic versus the luminous energy, like placement of the EXP share, stuff like that. When to break the item lock, that's like crazy stuff. That you
That
have
is a
to,
big one.
yeah, so I feel like that version is also harder to play too, just because I mean I tried picking it up and I was having a real tough time with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can imagine. It is a
Yeah.
hard deck to play.
It is a hard deck to play.
I will say, I think, and Dan, actually, I agree with you again.
Yeah.
Jolly for the medium pulse. Number one, I love that name for it.
Yeah,
But
medium pult.
that
Middle
also
pult. Middle
oh,
pult.
I
Shout out
love me
Dan.
some middle pulse.
Middle pult.
But yes, I think middle pulse and medium pulse is actually super, super. If you're a
Yeah.
bad place, guys, listen to me, baby Jesus.
Oh boy.
Okay. Okay, the aggressiveness is up here.
Yes.
But no, the reason I think Noir is so much more difficult is just because you have so many more choices with the actual Dust Noir Dusclops. And I think that to me, whenever you have more choices, that almost always equals a higher skill level. Not always,
Yeah.
but I think in this case it does.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely one of those decks that you really need to get your reps in order to really play it optimally, because I mean it's a time consuming deck, especially when you're doing 4 recon directives a turn. So you
is.
kind of have to really know what you're looking for in a turn in order to play it really quickly. And I think that's something that I kind of learned when I was listening to the Shift Gear interview that the Shift Gear guys did with Camille, and he was playing Pult, and he was like saying it's like, yeah, like in times where I was falling behind, it's like I just played super super fast, like like knowing what I wanted this entire time and stuff like that, and able to kind of like get games in that way, just like really knowing like your deck front to back
Yeah.
takes you a long way.
And I agree. And
Yeah.
I think that's huge in order to like play to the maximum potential. And when you have a deck with this power level, that's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I am going to let the crew know that we are good to roll here. And
Yeah.
we're seeing, and this is going to be a shock, we're seeing some replays on people up here because we're starting to filter out the crowd, and we've got a handful of people competing for that top spot.
Yeah, so as we kind of get to the top tables, you're gonna kind of see some of the same names, just because, I mean, people are kind of dropping, and we want to be able to keep like the best players at the stream at like all times. So want to make sure that we kind of keep that there. So we've got the Roaring Moon, the Dunsparce against the Pengo deck here. So another interesting one here, and I want to say I kind of want to favor the Pengo deck here.
So I would be much more on team Moon Moon Dun Dun if there was a better opportunity for Moon to reach to one-shot Pangos.
Yeah.
But because there's really not, there's only, I think, 29 ancient cards total in the deck.
Yeah.
I would also agree because Goldango's going to be able to pretty easily tank for a few turns.
Yeah, and I feel like this neutralization zone is going to be the deciding factor.
I would actually agree with that
Yeah.
too. Because neutralization zone, as we saw, says all of one player's rule box or non-rule box Pokemon cannot take damage from rule box Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Eli doesn't play any rule box Pokemon.
Yeah.
So looking at the first turn, Eli got a Moon down, Dunsparce in the active. That's all great. Senior trying to set up the board. Murray, thank you very much for joining
Thanks
us.
for coming out.
Awesome having you here. And yes, Dan, middle pult
Middle
is
pole.
what Mo called it, and I will never, ever let him forget about it.
Yep.
All right, so Brian, we kind of saw it a bit before, but what is Senior looking for as like the perfect board?
I think it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where you kind of have like the two Dreepies and the 3 Gimme Ghouls.
Yeah.
That could be kind of like your main setup here, just because you want to be able to have something that can draw pretty much at all times. The Monkey Dory could be very helpful as well, just because it can start moving damage, because there's not going to be any big knockouts kind of happening here. So
Listen, Nikita,
Yeah.
Dunces and Dragons
Yeah,
is a
just-
great
yeah.
name for the deck, but Moon Moon Dun Dun is just too fun to say.
Yeah, Moon Moon Dun Dun is definitely good. Yeah, get some middlebacks hats made.
Yes, I support that, Dan.
Yeah, I'd wear it.
All right, so we do see Pokegear for Senior, and it looks like we're just whiffing it.
Yeah, tough.
That's not great, boss.
Yeah,
And so we're kind of shoehorned into an Evo for a single Goldango. And I mean, that's not good,
yeah,
but it is enough where we'll likely be able to take a knockout next turn.
yeah. So, going into Eli's turn here, so we get the attachment, the retreat into the Roaring Moon. Sada gets us back. Draw 3. All right, so Ultra Ball will be able to get that capsule probably out of here as well. And I think we don't even need to discard the capsule because I think the flat 70 damage that this attack does is enough.
It definitely is. I think the bigger issue for Eli is can we get enough bench dudes out? And
Yeah, looks
with
like we will.
yes, and I think Eli, I don't mind playing that Artisan because it's going to be hard to get through a Goldango, but we play what is it? Hyperblower.
Yeah.
We play Iron Bundle. So Eli, by giving Artisan, is weirdly enough handing himself more prizes.
Yeah, which I kind of like that idea, just being able to kind of have more options for what you're going to be able to kind of attack going forward.
Exactly. And so because that's going to be, you kind of mentioned it, the big problem for Eli is he's going to almost always be two-shotting a Goldango. So
Definitely.
if he needs to get to a point late where he two-shots Goldangles as few times as possible, early turns he's going to want to be sweet child of mine. He's going to want to be taking a lot of low HP basics out.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely helped too that Evo came in for Senior because he wouldn't be able to take any sort of knockouts without it.
No, and honestly, with that Artisan, Eli could have just gone and gotten the bundle and
Yeah.
knocked out the Gimme Ghoul.
Definitely.
All right, and so we do see the knockout with Roaring Moon. Eli takes a prize. Senior goes up with Goldango. And I mean, we'll be able to draw, but man, this hand is not great except for the Cypher, which is literally any card he wants.
Yeah, so the Cypher is going to be good because the Cypher can at least get him like the pieces that he needs to attack here. An interesting play going for the Dreepy here, but I guess the Cypher can grab him something that would be able to grab him more pieces here.
And honestly, I know what I think you should get off Cypher. Brian, what do you think you should get off Cypher here?
I'm thinking I feel like you can get like E-Search Pro and like Buddy Poffin.
So I was actually thinking
Yeah.
Buddy Poff and Evo. But I think eSearch Pro is also excellent because
Yeah.
it'll force Eli to have to find a Sada.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're doing exactly
Yeah.
that.
So we're grabbing those, play the Buddy Poffin first. We're gonna grab probably 2 Gimme Ghouls. That's what I'm kind of thinking here.
I would imagine as well because we're going to want to stream attackers and we're going to want to put up a bunch of very tanky dudes in Eli's face.
Yep. So I don't think there's too much disruption going on Eli's side. Do you know how much he kind of runs? Like
0.
0? Oh, so no disruption at all.
There's no disruption. There's no
Oh, okay.
Ionos. There's no nothing.
Good
So
to know.
whatever Christian stacks his hand with will stay in his hand. And that's a huge deal for a deck like this.
Yeah, definitely. It's like one of those things where it's like when you were playing against like the old Miraidon, where you kind of knew that it didn't really play disruption like that. So you kind of like knew like whatever you were able to draw into, you can kind of keep it in your hand. You can kind of be more aggressive about that.
And that's such a big thing. In Miraidon, it was cool because like you got to find generators, find
Yeah.
pieces, the like. But for this kind of deck, you need to continually add stuff to your hand. And all your draw adds to your hand rather than shuffle back. So you don't want to see any disruption throughout the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one thing that Senior needs to worry about as well is that it takes a lot of energy in order to knock out all of these Roaring Moons. And even if they have the capsules on them, that's going to take like 4 energy. And having to like waste like a superior energy retrieval just to take a 1 prize knockout, it's going to kind of take a toll over time because it's going to require a lot of resources.
It will. And I...
Hyper Blower.
Oh, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I would love to see Artisan played first here.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right, so, but we are not going to do
Or
that.
we could not do it, right? Right, Dan?
'Cause why would we ever listen
Why?
to me?
Yeah.
What a terrible
Yeah.
choice. All right, so we do see an Ultra Ball. I saw a boss. Did we see a
Yeah.
Sada off of that?
There is a Sada there. So
Okay.
we're attacking.
Okay, and that's honestly that is exactly what Eli needed to see because now Eli will be able to take a prize. So
Yo, you see that is that I thought that was a great tusk for a second.
oh, God, speak to my heart, Brian.
Yeah.
I love
No,
it.
I saw it and I was like I didn't realize that it was Koraidon. I thought it was great tusk. Great tusk would have been cool.
That would have been sick. All right, and so we are watching our other game, and we are seeing an Evo with Pheasantipity from Mo. So
Oh.
we're not showing you that one for a reason.
We are gaming over here.
Yes, but going to Eli, so we do find another moon, which is fantastic. So we have
Yeah.
2 attackers down. This Sada can get full value.
Yep. So that's what we're.
Oh,
looking to do.
sorry, we're talking too loud.
Yeah.
Okay, so gosh darn it,
Yeah.
we need to get some soundproofing
I
in
know.
here. I
we
get
really
very
do.
excited.
I know we do because we're excited to be here.
I know exactly. All
Yeah.
right, so we find a room, and we do Sada for 2 energy to set Eli up. We
And we
see
got the-
3 cards in the hand.
Yep, another attachment coming down here. And what's Eli's recovery looking like in his deck?
So we play 1 Super Rod and 1 Night Stretcher.
Okay, so we can get this this bundle can come back a lot.
Agreed, and I
Yeah.
think that's a huge deal because then it saves burden of having to Sada and Gust.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think though this bundle loses value pretty quick once Senior evolves up this Goldango on the bench.
Yeah, definitely.
But you made a great point early about the amount of resources it's going to take Senior to take prizes.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
if you're able to force more manual attachments onto Goldangos and put up 200 HP one prizers over and over, it could make life really hard for him.
Yeah, definitely. And it's especially that there's not too much draw going on here on his side of the board. I mean he's gonna have 2 Goldangos and the Dracloak, but I mean his board's not looking too fleshed out here.
It's really not. However, this is a matchup where we may actually see an attack with Dragapult EX for Senior.
Yeah, that could definitely be one that can kind of help here.
Because Senior does play 1 Crispin, and like we talked about, like Eli's never going to reach for a 1-shot and a 2-prizer. So that means you could take a knockout on a Moon and then take another knockout over 2 turns on a Dunsparce or something similar with Dragapult. And I mean, that's so many resources saved because it's only 2 energy for 3 prizes.
Yeah, definitely. So that could definitely do a lot for him. So we see the Arvin come down here. Maybe? Okay, so I don't even know what we're trying to really look for here. Probably superior energy retrieval just so we can get another knockout here.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
The only issue is we're still drawing with the active Goldango first.
Yeah,
Which
that is an issue.
it is, because now we're kind of limiting our draw. And I think
Yeah.
Senior seems a little demoralized for what's in there. Oh, just
Yeah.
no tools.
No tools.
All right, so then we're seeing the Superior. I mean, obviously with the Superior, we have the knockout. Is there anything else he needs to do this turn?
Looks like we just need to kind of play the superior, and I would like to see kind of like cycle through all the drop pieces that we kind of have. See what else we can kind of grab here. Just because we don't want to discard that that Dragapult EX.
I agree. I think that's actually a really valuable resource. So I will tell you the one thing I would want to see is I would actually love to see a manual attachment either to the Goldango on the bench or to that Dracloak.
Yeah, I would like that too. Just because you got the Crispin in hand as well, so we can set up multiple attackers this next turn.
And that is a huge deal because if he is able to cycle through guys at all, like that's going to be immense.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see if he's gonna do that attachment here.
And so I'm saying this very quietly.
Yeah, so we don't hear.
we do see the neutralization zone in
Yeah.
Eli's hand.
We do see it. Oh, why are we getting rid of the Crispin?
I
Oh,
All right,
no.
for those watching the stream, I promise our ideas are sound. And honestly, if they're not, tell us.
Yes.
Because I think we're making great decisions here.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always going to be a certain level that our takes that could be like seen as plausible and stuff, like kind of like how we like agree to disagree on like
For sure.
on like Dragapult and stuff like that.
Right.
But this is kind of like encouraging discussion with chat and us.
It is. It
So
is.
If we want to hear your guys' thoughts too about some of the decisions that are being made too.
And remember, chat, we are correct. And I think it's very important to note that we are correct. We're not actually,
Yeah.
clearly, because Senior does take the knockout and does go down to 4 prizes remaining, which I should probably note. And Eli himself is down to 4 prizes. So we are all tied up here. Just, I don't know. Does it feel better to be Senior or Eli right now?
Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things where I've mentioned in the past too that like sometimes when you're playing these decks that are like single prizer, double prizer heavy, and they're playing against each other, it's pretty much like whoever gets down to 4 first kind of takes control of the prize trade, and that's kind of like what Eli did first. He went down to 4 first, so he kind of has control of the prize trade here. So if he's able to kind of continue that and take another prize here, or even like reach and take a 2 prizer, he's definitely in a good spot here. But if he's like kind of like whiffing some of these turns here, he's not taking that, kind of keeping up with the amount of prizes he's taking, he can actually fall behind pretty quickly to these 2 prizers.
Agreed completely. And I think even though Eli has the inherent advantage of having a single prize deck into a deck he can trade up into, it is much harder for Eli to sustain attackers
Yeah,
than it is for Senior. 'Cause
Definitely.
Senior just needs a manual attachment and then to fill the hand with energy. Eli needs to get the guys down, use a supporter to accelerate energy to them, and that's a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's also like one of those things to where I think the neutralization zone can kind of come in handy with it because it can kind of buy Eli one of those turns if he's not able to take that full knockout.
And so here's the question I have, Brian. If you know you don't play any hand disruption,
Yeah.
and you know Senior has a small hand, do you drop it now?
I think so. That's why I kind of mentioned it because I feel like this is like the turn to do it. Because like if he plays bundle, he can just bring up the other Goldengo, right?
Right.
And it's like there's no way to attack. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. I feel like because I mean it would require another attachment, this and that, but that's why I kind of mentioned it because I feel like you need to um, buy yourself another turn.
And I think the deeper Senior draws into the deck, the bigger hand he builds, the more and more likely it is that he has an out available to it. Especially because Eli put the Artisan down, so Senior's never going to balance it with his own Artisan.
Yeah,
And for Eli, I think he needs to just steal 1 turn.
yeah. And
Oh goodness, never mind. It was a great choice to not play it
Yeah.
down. Because we just see the top deck of Artisan for Senior. So now that neutralization zone is worthless.
yeah, definitely.
Until Senior discards it with this Ultra Ball.
Yeah, and I think Eli's still in a fine spot here because like Senior would go down to 3 here, and then with another attack, Eli can go down to 2. So he's still like in a spot to where he can win the game. It's just like about keeping up.
Agreed. Completely. And so we do see continued draw for Senior. And I am fascinated to see if we discard this Artisan.
Yeah, I am also. I wonder if Senior knows what the A spec is.
Agreed. And this is why we are talking so
Yes.
so quietly about
Yes,
it.
I know.
Which please let us know if you can still hear us, by the way, as we try
Yeah.
to reel it back. But I mean, Senior has knockout.
Yeah, he definitely does.
What else is he trying to set up?
I think he just wants to be able to kind of sift through the deck and have more like pieces ready to go, just so he can draw more into the deck. Because I mean, he's going to need every single superior energy retrieval in order to win the game.
100%. Because literally each superior energy retrieval is a prize,
Yeah, pretty much.
which is insane,
Yeah.
by the way. Now, if only we had a large 2-prize attacker that could take multiple knockouts for 2
Yeah.
energy.
I know.
And
And if we only had that supporter that can give both of those energy at the same time.
Right. Now, to be fair, we do have a psychic energy attached to the Dracloak, so
Yeah.
we are on track with that. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens here.
Yeah, definitely. So I think to Senior's benefit here as well. I mean, these are all big 2 prizers now, so there's not anything that Eli can kind of cheat out of like a 1 prizer to kind of clean the game up.
Right.
He's gonna have to two-shot another 2 prizer here.
And so to me, that says he got a lot of great value out of Bundle because it did enable him to steal an extra prize.
Yeah, definitely.
And so now Eli does need to attack 3 more times or twice more if things go exceptionally well for him.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if he's going to put another attachment down. Oh no.
I think we have exactly as much
Yeah, and
energy as we
that's
need.
Exactly 4. So no attachment can really happen here.
All right, so we do go into Koraidon, which because we attacked with Roaring Moon, we can do 180 damage, which is plenty.
Yep. And Eli's been doing such a good job as well of just being able to keep up with having extra attackers ready. He's not whiffing turns of attacking because he has like Pokemon ready for it.
And Brian, we forgot about one key card that Eli plays that we haven't talked about.
Which one?
Roaring Moon EX.
Oh, that's true.
So
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
there is a way for Eli to skip ahead on prizes at the end of this game because
Yeah.
if Christian does go into a two-prizer, Eli can frenzy gouging.
Yeah, that's true. And I know he does play the E-Switch because that's how he was able to beat Mo earlier in the day.
And the E-Switch is in his hand, which
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier to find.
Yeah, definitely.
So then we see the attack with Koraidon. We see... Why do we see that?
I think it's just to put it in play.
Oh, so we can E-switch it.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
and that's
yeah,
fair, that's fair.
Yeah.
And so that does take the burden off the Sada, so that way he doesn't have to find another ancient Pokemon to Sada to.
Yeah.
And we see
Oh,
debating if we want to put anything else down.
yeah. So I think we're just gonna
And we just see the knockout.
knock out.
What do you think about that?
I think it's fine. Yeah. I mean, still on pace to do what we kind of want here. See Ben dropping in the chat. What's going on, Ben? Shout out to you.
Ben, awesome to have you here.
Yeah.
So the only risk is Senior does play one Iono.
Yes, he does play one.
And he does play two Boss's Order. So I actually appreciate the not dropping the... and I think Senior is still at 4 prizes or at 3? we're at 3.
He is at 3.
So I do appreciate not dropping it because it could get gusted up pretty easily and all
Yeah.
but close out the game for him. And because we do have Boss in hand and Counter Catcher, so Senior's hand, as usual, is really good.
Yeah, he's got all the things he kind of needs here. Superior is probably going to get that fire energy that he needs in order to attack.
Yes.
And I wonder, is he going to discard the artist? Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. And to be honest, at this point, I don't think the neutralization zone matters
Yeah.
because Eli went from I need to slow down to get on track to I'm the one kind of setting the pace.
Yeah. And it kind of still helps to have it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially because if there is disruption and Eli's able to find it, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
Right.
Ben says Iono's a lie anyways, don't worry.
Ono is indeed a lie.
It is a lie.
All right, so Senior goes down to 2 prizes, and we
Okay.
spread our damage out.
And
Eli goes
Let's see if
into...
Eli just closes out the game here. I think he's got everything he kind of needs to do it, right?
We need a Sada, and I can't actually see if there's a Sada. Is there a Sada?
I think he might have it. I'm pretty sure he needs like 2 ancients. He needs Sada. Well, he needs 1 ancient, and then he has the
He only needs
EX.
Sada, because he already has the Ultra Ball for the Moon. He can
Yeah.
Ultra Ball for additional Dun-Duns, but he just needs the Sada.
I don't see the Sada here yet.
All right, and we have played 2 Sadas so far this game.
I think so.
So there are a couple outs left in deck. We see at least 1, I think 2.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that we haven't really seen from Eli is he hasn't dug through his deck very much yet.
Yeah.
Do we have Moon prized? Or is it already in hand?
The EX, I think, is in the deck.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So first Dun-Dun is coming out here. Eli is going to be seeing lots of cards here.
He is, and I see him thinning out his hand, but I wonder why are we getting the Moon with this one?
I think you need to use one of them to get the Moon.
I agree.
Yeah.
The only thing is, from Eli's expression, like to me, that says he doesn't have the EX.
I think he's looking to draw first.
But
and
he
then he's-
shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe his argument could be that
I
he wants to
think-
save the Ultra Ball for more Dun-Duns.
Yeah, I think it's fine too because you're going to be shuffling the deck anyways, so I think it's fine to shuffle anyways.
And I think that's fair. So we will use the first one, draw 3. Okay. Okay. Honestly, I can't even see the cards. I'm just trying to read Eli's
Yeah.
expression here. And
Yeah.
he doesn't look super happy.
Let's
Do
see
we
what the-
have the Moon in hand there?
I don't think that is the Moon. He has a lot of Ultra Balls though, so I think he can search out another Dunsparce and he can also search out the moon as well.
Agreed.
No, I think I think the EX is in the deck. I think I've seen it. I think it's the gold one.
Your eyes may be better than mine. I
Yeah.
don't see it. All right, so let's look at it this way. If he does have the EX in deck, I think this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
If he does not, what's the plan?
If he doesn't, um, then I think he needs to look for a different attacker. I think he needs to get like 2 basic ancients, like the little ancients, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I would tend
Yeah.
to agree.
So this one's got to grab the EX here, I think.
And I think so. If the X is
Yeah.
in deck, it has to. It is?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, Brian, why didn't we get that first?
I think he wanted to see what he could draw out with the Dunsparces first.
Okay. Yeah, and I think Eli, I've given Eli feedback before that his
Yeah.
sequencing at times is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And this is one where I'm not super sure about it.
Yeah, I can see where he's trying to go. Like I can see the vision for it. I'm trying
And
to
Ben in Twitch, also happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
So let's see what this draw gets us here.
Do we hit Sada?
I think we do. I think that is Sada, right?
Did we?
I don't know.
So the good news is we still get to draw 3.
Yeah, and he hit the Great Ball, so I think he's going to be able to do another the Dunsparce draw here, and I think he's going to try to E-switch the Dark Energy first.
So
That'd be
if-
correct.
Yes, I think we absolutely should. And
Yeah.
so here's where I'm kind of curious. If we have Sada in hand, we have game.
Yes. Yes, so we do that.
Absolutely.
Attach.
Attach. So we have
Great Ball.
Earthen Vessel, Great Ball. Okay, well, we got a lot of dun-duns.
Yeah.
All right, so, I mean, it really comes down to this, Brian.
Yeah, it really does. This
Now-
has got to be it.
The good news is, with the capsule in hand, Eli can just shove the fan runner up front and pass.
Yes.
Like, we don't have to hit it this turn. It would just make our lives a lot less stressful. And fun fact, if Eli really wants, he could go to sudden death,
That's
even
true.
if
He could go
Christian
into-
does gust it up.
Yeah, he could go to sudden death. That's true.
But we'll see. Do we hit the Sada?
I don't see it.
I don't either. We have a boss. We have a counter catcher. Yeah, and I mean, I think this is the right choice.
Yeah. And I think this is fine too, just because, I mean, there's no way for Senior to win this turn, right?
Well, there is. If he's able to gust up the Mooney X and knock it out
Knock
with
it
Gold
out,
Dango, then that
yeah.
is game. However, if he doesn't do exactly that, Eli at least guarantees sudden death next
Yeah.
turn.
And I think he can feel pretty confident about winning in sudden death.
100%.
Yeah.
He, as long as he gets to go second, he can feel very, honestly, either way.
Even if he goes first, yeah.
Yeah, he can feel very confident being favored at least.
Yeah.
But now the question is, does Senior have Gust, Metal, and 6 additional energy?
Yeah. He's got a lot of energy, so he's
He
kind of
does.
part of the way there.
And this is where that lack of hand disruption can be so problematic.
Yeah.
And one more thing with it, this is where that Dun-Dun engine struggles.
Yeah.
Is because early game, when you're just pulling stuff off the top, it's great. Oh, well, okay,
no.
that about does it. And unfortunately for Eli, I think that's going to be
I
about
think
all she wrote.
so. Yeah, you might be right.
Because we have Superior, we have 3 or 4 more energy in hand. We're going to be able to Superior away to a Monkey in a Stadium, grab 4 energy, and yeah,
Yeah.
if we have a Metal and a couple extra energy in hand, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
So Senior takes
Wow.
it.
That's a crazy top deck.
That is now. I think he had plenty of opportunities to dig for something anyway, but
Yeah.
still, that is just oof.
Yeah. Yeah, Sada was still a ways away. And that's another thing with this with the Dunsparce engine too that you kind of have to be wary about is like you're drawing 3 cards, but then you're also putting 2 back in.
And that's
So,
exactly it.
yeah.
So it's great because you get to reuse it over and over, but every time you use it, I think Olive used the term, you are thickening the deck, which
Yeah.
still grosses me out, but it's kind of true. You're shoving more stuff back in there that maybe you don't especially want to like see later on in the game.
Yeah, just update for all the basketball people out here. New York Knicks won. They're still in it.
No shot.
111-94.
Oh boy. So
Knicks are in it.
my brother-in-law is a huge Pacers fan, and
Yeah.
he's coming into town this weekend.
Oh, wow.
So he was hoping we wouldn't be able to watch the game on Saturday, but
Yeah.
we'll be watching the game on
Yeah.
Saturday.
I've been telling people Knicks in 7.
Brian, have you watched much of the series?
I have. I've watched every game.
I don't think it's going
I
to be
even-
Knicks in 7.
I even watch the games at work.
That is your healthcare industry working
Yes.
for you.
Every patient's room gets the Knicks game on, and as I'm walking through each room and saying hello, I make sure to get a glimpse of the game as well.
All right,
so,
that is
yeah.
some dedication right there. All right, so there's one more deck as we get into our last round here we have not talked about. And Brian, I think this deck is stupid and I hate it. And it's actually really good.
Yeah, this deck is really good.
And Labella, if you're still here, please don't cancel me. Anyway, this is Raging Bolt, but new Bolt. And honestly, it is a pretty freaking good deck.
Is this Christian's list?
I believe
Yeah, because
so.
I see the Petron, and I know like him and Danabara played that too
Yes.
in Portland. Yeah, it's cool. I like this list. I tried to not play Raging Bull for a while because I thought it was like too linear of a deck, but it's really good, man. I've been playing it recently too after Labella won the event, and it's really good. I mean, there's so many outs. It's got a lot of good pieces here. Like, I mean, the Raging Bolt can knock out anything in the game. The Baby Bolt's awesome. That thing snipes anything it can take out. It helps your Pult matchup a lot. The Slitherwing is like a complete answer to Pikachu EX. The Ursaluna can close out a lot of games. It's such a good deck. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think the biggest thing here, as weird as it is literally Baby Bolt. Like, of all the pieces that have come into this deck, whether it be Noctowl, like Latias, MUEX, like Pheasantipity, Blood Moon Ursaluna, seriously, the most important part of this deck and why it's good is Baby Bolt.
Yeah, Baby Bolt's super good. The Baby Bolt's probably one of the reasons what like really put this deck like over the top.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. And so, Brian, obviously, I could talk about it for all day. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about why it's so good? Or you want me to?
I think you can take this one first.
Sounds
yeah.
good. I will for a bit. So,
Yeah.
this Baby Bolt is so good because the way you beat Bolt before was simply to force them to take a 1-prizer first. Because if they would do so, they couldn't take a knockout without putting one or multiple 2-prize Pokemon on the board. So now you get to go into Baby Bolt. Not only do you get to use a single prizer to take a reasonable knockout because most of the decks in the format now are evolving decks, but you can also snipe something on the bench. I was playing Ryan before we started the tournament, and my stupid Pidgey kept getting sniped by his Baby Bolts. And that is so much pressure. Since now, if you're playing against Charizard, if you're playing against Dragapult, something like that, and you take a 1-prizer, they can't respond with a 2-prizer and go 2-2-2. Instead, they have to respond and take a single prize knockout themselves, and that's when you can go in to try to clear out the game because you still have the chance to reach and take a giant knockout and stuff. So I do think this deck also requires a whole lot more brain power than it did in the past, and Noctowl's a big reason behind that. Same with Teal Mask Ogerpon. Well, all right, that was still there before, but really it's just Noctowl. Because Noctowl lets you search your deck for 2 cards. We've talked about it all the time, but anytime you have to make a choice like that, it adds so much pressure to your game. And so we can talk about this one a little more, but we are going to get our last game set up here, and we currently have, as you all know, top 4 of this tournament will automatically qualify for the Invitational. And as of right now, for the non-auto qualifiers, we have, I think, 3 players. Ooh, I'm going to have to look at this. Open a new tab.
3 players what?
So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 of our top 10 placing players right now are not auto qualified.
Oh, okay.
So we this round matters.
Yeah,
this round
definitely
matters a lot.
Yeah.
So we are going to see.
Do we have our pairings for the last round
I
yet?
don't know if we do yet. I'm gonna
Okay.
try and see on that. So we will have. I don't actually. Can you go check and see who they're putting up here? Because no one's actually come
they're
up here.
they're gonna
yet.
mark it. They're gonna mark
Okay.
it on there. So the ones that are highlighted are gonna be the ones that are going on stream.
Perfect. And nothing's highlighted yet.
Yeah.
So, I was
they're
just getting
still
twitchy.
they're still figuring.
But
it
we are
out.
apparently devouring cake. So Kevin, I am glad the cake. Hopefully the cake's delicious. I just know
Yes.
you ate a bunch of it.
And my girlfriend's been texting me because she wants a shout out too. So I'll shout her out here. Shout out to my girlfriend Nicole. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Nicole, for watching. My wife was actually watching a little earlier too, which I
shout out to
appreciated.
Kate. Thank you for
She's-
watching, and probably with the baby too.
No, baby doesn't actually get screen time.
Oh,
Although
okay,
that
good.
picture. So my wife sent me a picture of my baby sitting on the couch, watching our stream, which, as a father, brings my heart so much
Yes.
joy. And then he was swiftly taken away from the screen because that is
Yeah.
not good for babies.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so just so you all know, our top 10 includes John Wongard, who is an incredible player from Wisconsin, drove on down an hour. Eli is not auto-qualified yet, to my knowledge. I don't think so, right?
No.
No, Eli is not. Olive, who commentated with me on Sunday,
Yes,
is
it was
not.
funny too because I was asking Olive, she was like telling me, she was like, "Oh wait, I think I'm like not gonna be able to qualify anymore." I was like, "Just win the challenge. You got it."
Easy, easy.
Yeah, you're capable of doing it.
Yeah. So John, Eli, and Olive are all 4-1. So they could tie or hopefully win. Oregani, Faramosa. All right, hit me. Where do we fit Faramosa in this
Yeah.
thing? Connor O'Shea, who's a local, been out a bunch of times, is not yet qualified. Sky is, so we don't worry about her. Mo is not yet qualified.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Is Mo able to
is.
qualify?
Mo is currently 3-2.
Oh,
So 4-2
Mm.
could sneak in. And then Adam and Reno are also not auto qualified yet. So, that's good to
Oh.
know, Jolly. I didn't realize that. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I quit playing Pocket. It was just a pack opening simulator. I
Yeah.
was not having fun. But so, this is a big round.
it is a big round. There's
All
a
right.
lot on the line here.
So, Brian, which do you want to see?
I would have said Olive and Eli, but Eli was just on. I think I would like to see Alex and John because we haven't had John on yet. That's definitely one of them.
And honestly, Connor,
yeah, Connor
and
and
Sky.
I'm down for that too because we could probably put Connor and Sky on,
I
table
think-
one just because neither of them had too much screen time yet.
And for those saying, dude, the pairings have been up for a while, what is happening? I think they're all discussing who wants to ID. Because
That could also be a yeah.
because that is complicated now. Because in general, for a challenge, like, get top 4 challenge, like, that's cool, good job, like, it's a good win,
Yeah.
but it's not catastrophic. Here, if
There's,
you need
there's
top
something on
4,
the line.
yeah.
Yeah, there's something on the line here. So
So, Brian, here's what I'm going to ask for you for, because I think, and I'm just going to turn on the booth for you. I'm going to grab, let me see, who actually is our leader? I'm going to grab Martin.
yeah, that's cool. Let's do that.
Because Martin is not in contention. Okay, we are setting up. So we are going to have Olive and Eli and then Connor and Sky playing.
Okay.
Whew. This
There
is
we
going to
go.
be tough.
Yeah.
And we can see high pressure gameplay. Now, I'm not going to lie, Brian. We don't usually see real high pressure gameplay on a Thursday night 'cause it's still locals. We're still
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah.
But this one actually matters.
Yeah, this one absolutely matters, and I'm really glad that our inaugural season is coming down to this.
So am I. I
Yeah,
think it's fantastic.
It's like a legitimate fight to like get into the invitational, and that's what we really wanted to see too. Is like we wanted to see something that a lot of people can have fun with, come back every week and enjoy, but we also wanted something we can get competitive with too. So it's cool that we can have this like kind of middle ground for it, and that a big like championship point event can kind of be like the deciding factor for who makes it in.
Agreed. And to be honest, like, number one, from a like, hey, let's talk about it's a dream scenario. But the
Yeah.
second part is like, dude, it feels so good that all the players who have like played here, worked for this, tried, they still have a shot at the very, very end of it
Yeah,
too.
and it's crazy too because even if we decided to play, we still technically have a shot at.
That's right, exactly. So I will say, y'all, Norm, store owner, love the guy. He's awesome, very supportive
Yeah.
of the team. He was not going to have a stream today, and I may or may not have called and possibly threatened my job security on the team to say how important it was for us to stream because, like, this is the last one.
Yeah,
this is the
last one.
chance.
Yeah, this is the last chance that we can have this until we do our our invitational.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that you guys were able to see kind of the intensity of what we got going on here. And so we've talked in general about what the prize is going to be, but we have at least a few $100s in store credit available for the invitational. There will be a trophy, which we're going to
Yep.
talk about and figure out tonight. And there will be food at the invitational.
Yeah.
And there will be the stream. So we did make one change, and I can't find our slide with the date, but we did make one change that we are actually going to have the invitational be on the 22nd. So we are going to have that on the 22nd because the FCBC event is on the 21st, and we don't want to overlap with that. Like, we want to have a chance for everyone to be able to watch and see, and also for the people who participate, be able to participate without having to try to watch a really, really cool event going on. So, yeah, we're going to have this on the 22nd. And so, Brian, if you don't mind. Oh, we already started. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we're starting.
we're into our next round. We
Yeah.
have Olive starting with Bolt in the active, a Hoot Hoot, and a Teal Mask Ogre Pawn. And Eli now going in with a Earthen Vessel to get that moon set up. I think what happened is that they thought they could start, and they were not allowed to start.
Oh,
All right.
I think it's okay.
Well, anticlimactic beginning, but you know what? Here we are. So we do have Eli starting off, getting those 2 energy. And I mean, we see Olive's board. It's pretty typical for Raging Bolt turn 1. What does Eli want to set up here?
Yeah, I think Eli just needs. It's kind of like the last game. We really want just Eli to get some attackers going.
And I mean, it really just comes out of that. As much as I'm like, give us a lengthy exposition on it, like, nah, we just need multiple moons and a few Dunsparce.
Yep. And for a low balloon knot, Eli is playing Baby Moon with the Dunsparce.
Yes. It is Baby Moon Dun Dun, exactly. And see, this is why I have Moon Moon Dun Dun on there. It makes it so clear. All right, so we do see a Great Ball from Eli. We're able to get a Dunsparce out. And do we just fail that Great Ball?
I think so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That does not feel
Definitely
great.
doesn't feel great because you definitely need to get some attackers started. And it's also going to be one of those things where it's kind of tough to take some of these knockouts on these Raging Bolts. So you need to start doing damage right away.
And so it is a little easier to reach for the Raging Bolt, but it's still not super easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, Eli, I think here is debating, do I go with this Explorer's
Yeah.
Guidance? And I think he's gotta. Oh, and we do see a Fan Rotom.
Okay, so there's something we can work with.
There is, but we're also seeing 2 Dun Dun, and we do
Yeah.
not want to see those.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to.
Oh, and this is tough because I think Mooney X is in there too.
Yeah. But I mean, there is recovery, so
There is, but this
Yeah.
is not a good start.
definitely.
I think inauspicious would be the word.
Yeah.
All right, and so we see Eli keep the Fan Rotom, which is great because now we get to fill our board.
Yep.
But Brian, do we have an out to another moon?
I'm not seeing one. I
That's a-
think unless I think I might have seen an Ultra Ball in the hand. No,
Oh,
totally
hello.
sure.
Were you gonna yell at us for being loud? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they can both start. Sorry, Eli and Olive were on. Yes, you guys can start.
Yeah.
No, when
Oh.
okay, hold on, Brian, open the door again, real quick. I need so
Yeah.
this is part of the show. We have to yell at our people
Yeah.
sometimes, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna yell them briefly.
Yeah.
Olive and Eli, you guys started before we were even had you on camera, so you are on stream.
Yeah.
So just wait for us to talk next time. Connor and Scott.
Yeah.
bonus
Eli's
points.
not looking too good right now.
No, and this is a very inauspicious start for Moon because
Yeah.
obviously we would like to have a second attacker. Ideally, we would have Sada'd, but because we're a single prize deck and Olive's Pokemon for 2 prizes are much more within reach, I don't think this is actually too bad.
Yeah. Not terrible, but I think Eli just really think about where he wants to put that energy.
To be honest, I probably would have put it on that Fan Rotom.
Yeah. I probably would have too. I think it's fine either way because I feel like either way there's gonna be something that's getting knocked out, but at least the Fan Rotom could kind of trade.
And so that would exactly be my thought. Like, you know the Moon is going down, like it just is. If you go with the Fan Rotom, you have a chance to Countercatcher or Gust that Hoot Hoot, or you 2-shot the Raging Bolt and put yourself in a better position.
Yeah.
But alas, another energy going to the discard, accelerates Sada's later. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, so Olive already in a good spot here. The Crispin's going to grab her that energy for the Raging Bolt. And then the grass energy that can be accelerated onto the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn on the bench as well.
Which is a huge deal because
Yeah.
Olive also gets to draw.
Yes, more draw as well. And that's really one of the most powerful things about Raging Bull is there's so many easy ways to get energy onto these Pokemon.
It is. Like, the deck is very powerful. As we were talking about, it has much more, like, skillness, or I said skill difference, skill gap, whatever, skill involved than it did in the past.
Yeah.
And so now there is some pressure on Olive to play well with it. It's not just kind of turn your brain off and go.
Yeah, definitely.
And so going with another Bolt here, do you think Olive's saying, I'm not going to put down 2 single prizers?
I think so.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess just having another attacker ready to go is really what her goal is.
And I mean, it is a highly, highly reasonable goal.
Yeah.
We are going to have to get rid of 2 energy here in order to knock out the moon. And while that's not a ton, kind of like we saw with Senior, it's still going to involve a bunch of attacks and a bunch of
Yeah,
acceleration.
Definitely.
All right, so we do see Dun Dun come down. We use the first draw. Okay, we see an energy and something else there. We see an Ultra Ball. So,
Yeah.
okay, we can find a moon. But we don't
Oh,
have a lot else.
There's not a lot else we can do here. I mean, and it's like Eli's already kind of like behind because Olive already was able to take her first prize, and like Eli needs to start doing some damage as well because he's not able to really do that same kind of damage as well, and it's just tough on his side here. I mean, if he wants to be able to do some meaningful like damage here or get some prizes, it's gonna need some gust.
Well, and I don't
Yeah.
even mind hitting with Fan Rotom should there
Yeah.
be desperate times. But Eli needs a stadium down there.
Yeah, he needs a stadium in order to do that. There's the
So we
Sada.
see a Sada, we see an
Yeah.
energy, but we don't actually see a moon.
Yeah, it's so tough. No moon here. Oh man.
And so we can Ultra Ball, we can get a moon. I mean, Brian, I don't mean to harp on it too much, but like, where do we use, like, why aren't we attaching to or going into Fan Rotom here?
Yeah, I know it's tough. I think it's just I mean because we don't have that stadium.
And that really could be it.
Yeah.
And honestly, Balloon, I think Olive's all right because
Yeah.
Olive has a bunch of very like tall, strong dudes who are basics who she
Yeah.
can accelerate to pretty quickly, and
Definitely.
it's gonna be hard for Eli.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Olive's kind of chilling here.
And so this is actually like the second tournament in a row we've seen this Dun Dun engine, which is very powerful. Also be kind of undermined by the fact that it's not just draw 3 clean, it's pull 3 out, put 2 in.
Okay, so there's a Dunsparce. Eli can attach return. He can finally attack here. That's one of the pluses here.
It is a big plus. The downside is we don't have another moon yet.
Yeah, we don't have another moon, and there's not a lot of other things we can do here yet.
But that's also a big deal because now it's going to cost 3 energy for Olive to take a knockout.
Yeah.
And those, like, energy are going to add up, and those matter.
Yeah. And I see that, I think he grabbed the bundle. I feel like the bundle's not bad here.
I don't mind the bundle here. We
Yeah.
did 150. We are 2 off it being very, very relevant math.
Yeah. Unless they're thinking about maybe, is there anything else we could discard here?
So I think we have an Earthen Vessel, and a
Vessel,
Moony Yak.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you got to do it.
Yeah.
Because that 2 damage means you could take a knockout with Fan Rotom.
Yeah, with Fan Rotom. Yeah, that's huge.
And so one thing you guys saw, Bolt previously played stuff like Rescue Board and stuff like that. Not Rescue Board, excuse me. What was the little board that healed 30?
Little board that healed 30.
The switching card?
Switch card.
Switch card, yes. So he played Switch card to heal. Now, there's no healing, so whatever damage Eli puts down is going to stick.
Yeah, unless, and it's going to be meaningful damage until something like a Bravery Charm comes down.
Yes, exactly. And so I believe Olive does play. Wow, her handwriting is worse than mine. I don't actually see any Bravery Charms.
Oh, okay.
So that is interesting. So there's no way to modify health here.
That's interesting to think about.
But she does play something that you don't normally see in Bolt. Pidgeot EX.
Pidgeot EX.
Pidgeot EX.
What's the line? 101?
101.
How many rare candies?
One.
One. Oh, fun.
So that is a very interesting inclusion. We do also play a Ditto, which is just cool. But that is a very fascinating inclusion. I think All Out Blitzel and Fontenot had talked about that online a little bit. And yeah, we're just going to see the knockout from, or excuse me, not the knockout, but the hit from Eli.
Yeah. Oh, and there's that Pidgey.
I'm telling y'all, there's the Pidgey.
Oh, the jamming tower here is kind of relevant as
It
well.
is. But actually, it'd be a huge deal for Eli to bounce it because that is, so we play 3 stadiums.
The judge.
Honestly, Eli must feel very grateful.
Yeah.
Because his hand was bad.
Yeah.
All right, so we do see the shuffle in for the judge. Olive going to be able to get 4 cards. And so I'm kind of curious. Any reason why we didn't Sada there?
Yeah, I was wondering. I think actually, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that too. I feel like the Sada probably would have been better, but then again, it's like Judge is such a powerful card in this deck just because it really just hurts the draw power, especially with what Eli's board state looks like right now.
100%. And honestly, all Olive needs is a lightning energy.
Yeah.
So I'd say I think Judge is insane here. Oh my
wow.
goodness. And Olive off the top. Yes. Oh,
Wow.
and we see it knocked out anyway. But so with the jamming tower, that is obviously huge.
Yeah.
And Callie, I think I saw that as well, and I completely agree. Why bank it on the top deck? Well, you know why, Brian? Because you always hit it.
Yeah, always. Always.
And so the knockdown for Olive comes down. I assume just trying to get a bit of a better board.
Yeah.
See
the rare candy.
rare candy and the nest ball for Pidgey, just as you expect
Yep.
in Raging Bolts.
Yep. This has become the new standard.
What is the world we're living in,
Yeah.
Brian?
This is the new standard.
God, I got second at a cup with frickin' Hydreigon. We're
Hydreigon.
seeing Pidgeot and Bolt.
Yeah.
And we do see the knockout for Olive on Eli's
Yeah.
moon.
Oh wow. And then here it is, just the lone fan rotom. Oh wow.
All right, but we see double buddy popping for
Wow.
Eli. I can say that out loud. They see it too.
Yeah, they see
So
it too.
we see a bunch of Dun-Duns come down. Do we have a moon?
I hope so. That would be like what we really need more than anything.
I know we had a lot of enthusiasm, so I assume things are going okay on Eli's
Yeah.
end, but
And it's good that they're just having fun here too.
agreed. And also from Eli's perspective, he's going to be able to respond because Olive put down the jamming tower.
Yeah, definitely.
So then, Brian, what else does Eli need to do this turn? Because obviously that was 3 of the 5 cards in hand. We see nothing else, just a knockout. All
Yep.
right.
Oh boy. There goes that Pidgeot EX into the active.
And just absolutely, someone take a screenshot of
Yeah.
this. This is insane. I know it's been discussed online, but it blows my mind that this is truly an inclusion. But I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
Noctowl enables some crazy things. And so with this Pidgeot EX, I mean, I assume we're going to go for a Sada or something similar here.
I would think so. Yeah, I kind of need to have something ready to attack.
So we could also just go for a Fan Rotom of Olive's Own.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be terrible, but I feel like we need some kind of response in order to stay ahead and on pace against Eli.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Just about staying on pace here. Ooh.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness.
that was a crazy. You
That-
don't even need Sada.
Who needs it?
Yeah.
Who needs it?
Actually, you still might need Sada just because of the amount of stuff that's kind of in the discard pile. But
And I agree. I think it depends on what the energy counts
Yeah.
are in the deck. And so we will see
looks
the
like we
Crispin
are-
first.
I feel like, oh man, I feel like you kind of quick search to see what's in there.
Did we already quick search for the nest ball for Fez, or have we not used quick search yet?
I don't think we've used quick search yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I think we're fine because we will be able to get something out of the deck. But we're just gonna Crispin. See it fighting, and we see a
Oh,
lightning.
Never punished.
Never punished. So we
Yep.
see both energy come down, likely both going onto the bolt.
Yep.
You only really needed those 2, and you were set.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with the grass energy that's coming on there as well, that'll be all the damage that we kind of need to take out that Fan Rotom.
100%. And now the issue for Eli is Eli's only going to be able to attack if he hits a Sada.
Yeah, and it's not even going to be like very meaningful damage either.
Right. We're hitting for 160 right now. Excuse me, 180 right now with that moon in the discard. And I don't see a Sada in Eli's hand.
I do not.
And so we do see the
Ooh,
Ultra Ball
Fan
for
Rotom.
Fan Rotom. Oh!
Oh, so is this going to be a knock with the Fan Rotom?
How do you feel about
I
that?
kind of like that.
Okay, so why
Yeah.
is that?
Just because, it's like just using your one prizers when you can,
So
It's an easy attacker to use.
I'm actually going to say on the flip side, I don't like that.
Yeah. What's your
I-
reasoning, Dan?
So right now, Eli is not able to reach on a two-prizer. And so this, to me, is the time to use two-prizers because Eli is going to naturally have to two-shot them. But if you give Eli easy knockouts when his damage cap is still low and save your two-prizers for when his damage cap is getting high enough to be threatening, you're giving him a big advantage because now
Yeah.
he has to work way less hard to take his knockouts throughout the game.
True. And if Callie agrees with you, it's probably the right thing to do.
Thank you, Callie. I
Yeah.
always appreciate the support.
Yeah.
And for Eli, we do see the Artisan come down.
There's a moon down finally.
There is. Now the question is, will that moon be attacking this turn?
I highly doubt it at this point.
It's reasonable.
Yeah.
The one good news, and this is the also big thing for Eli, if Eli just gets down another Fan Rotom and an Energy, he can also take a prize.
That's true.
But if Olive had gone in with Bolt, Fan Rotom and Energy would probably not be enough to really continue to accelerate the game.
Yeah.
Are you here to yell at us again?
Time and
I
round.
don't. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I was not keeping the timer very effectively here. We're playing Raging Bolts into Moon.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed about
Yeah,
time.
I don't think it's gonna go to time.
And to be honest, TPCI can yell at me for this. I would rather this game get resolved by actual like ending the game anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Instead of just like a tie.
Right, exactly. All right, so we see Eli pick the two cards off of that Explorer's Guidance. We throw a ton of Ancient cards into the discard. And now, do we have a way to take a prize?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think so, just because there isn't any other acceleration we can use to get energy into play. Because there's no like dark patch anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we will use Artisan. We can get a Roaring Moon out of the deck.
Yeah.
All right, so Brian, I think we've talked through the game pretty well. See what we're doing, see what initial lines are. So I'll kind of ask you the same question I did before. How does Eli win at this point?
This is tough. I mean, Olive's got a good thing going right now.
She really
Olive-
does.
Olive was able to set a Pidgeot EX. Like, I feel like if you're able to set a Pidgeot EX at that point, like, I feel like you can pretty much, you're not really winning the game.
And that's the tricky part. So
Yeah.
Eli's not going to be able to rely on much like disruption, on slowing
Yeah.
Olive down. So it's going to be when Olive inevitably takes this knockout, can Eli take 4 prizes and 2 attacks?
Yeah, that's the tough part. Like, I mean, you can reach on stuff like the Fez and the Ogerpon, but it's all about like doing that while also not losing every single resource you have on your board, as limited as they are.
And that's the thing is, it's okay to lose every resource as long
Yeah.
as you still reach for the knockouts.
Yeah,
And so here's the tricky part with that. We don't play any counter catcher. So
yeah.
the only gust we have is
That's so surprising too with a deck like this that likes to play from behind.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah,
So there are 3 bosses orders,
Yeah.
which is plenty of gust if you're able to like get ahead on attachments. But
Yeah.
obviously, Eli has not been able to here.
yeah. I figured like a setup that I would have rather used is like lower on the boss count, higher on the catcher, and then maybe playing a pal pad.
I mean, that makes sense. We do
Yeah.
play a pal pad.
Yeah,
So I'm also a little surprised at that, but maybe it's a good question for Eli.
yeah, could be.
All right, so then Eli does draw with the Dunsparce. We go into another Dunsparce.
Yeah,
We have energy enhanced. We'll be able to attach to Moon. But kind of like you said, Brian, Olive can just go get a boss.
yeah. I think so.
And at this point,
Olive can just get boss and just knock out anything on the board.
right.
Yeah, or even just continue with the fan rotom too. There's a lot of options for Olive.
And so Olive can. I
Yeah.
will say, and I would love Callie's perspective here
Yeah.
because she clearly agrees with me.
Yeah.
I would probably want to see the boss knock out the moon because
Yeah.
that's the only way Eli wins.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So we see, honestly, a pretty good hand for Eli now.
Yeah. We also see that there's not many resources left on the board either.
No, we have used all of our dun-duns. We have burned through our deck. Like, we're kind of burning everything down to try to reach for a
Yeah.
knockout.
Okay, so Eli looks like he's going back into that.
We already played a supporter, right?
Yes, I believe we played the Explorer's Guidance, right?
Moonsparks can definitely hit 240. I don't know if they'll be able to hit 240 this turn, but definitely can hit
Yeah.
240. All right, and we do see multiple duns come out. And are we able to get a second moon down? I guess it's not necessary, but it sure would be nice. All right, so we do see the moon. We see Eli shuffle up. I mean, honestly, Brian, I think I'm just waiting to see how Eli ends his turn because, I mean,
Yeah, this has been a long turn.
it has, but also leaving that moon in the active feels
yeah,
terrible, right?
It doesn't feel right. Yeah,
And I don't care if it really hears me on that one. It feels
Yeah.
terrible.
definitely. And especially, it doesn't feel right too. You're doing that, but then you're putting the energy somewhere else. But I understand you have the E-switch for it, but I don't know.
I think I actually really, really like the energy on the bench. Well, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Callie, I think you're absolutely right. Like trying to set up 2 moons is going to be nearly impossible here.
Yeah.
All right. And so I believe we're passing it over to Olive.
Yeah. So let's see what Olive decides to do here.
I know. And I feel like Eli obviously is taking his time trying to figure this out because this is a really tough choice because how he ends his turn may just decide the game.
Yeah.
And so deciding that he's going to say, I'm going to force you to expend 3 energy to knock this out. Olive has the Sada. We'll draw 3. We have not used Quick Search yet.
Yeah. The Area 0 is coming down.
Oh, but that could be big. Because we know, but Olive doesn't unless we've said it too loud. Eli has access to that neutralization zone.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And so if Olive has prized the second Area 0 or something like that, then Eli could be able to steal this game.
That's true.
Now, I don't know if she has,
Yeah.
but there are options.
There are options. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so then, Brian, what is Olive doing the rest of this turn?
I think just trying to set up that Raging Bolt to hit that big knockout to take out that Roaring Moon.
And I mean, that makes sense. The
Yeah.
other option is, too, is Olive could go in with Teal Mask.
That's true. Yeah, Tail Mask can definitely take the knockout here as well.
It also makes things a little more efficient for her.
Yeah,
But the flip side is it may be easier for Eli to reach.
that's true. Yeah. And I think another thing to kind of take note of too is like that this fan rotom becomes very important if the neutralization zone comes down.
It does, because
Yeah.
that is going to be Olive's one route to take
Yeah.
knockouts. All right, so we see a Pal Pad. And so, Brian, do you see the Area 0 in deck for Olive?
I didn't get the chance to look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's like the only question then of how Eli wins this game.
Yeah.
All right, and so this is, again, I'm going to turn to chat for all y'all watching. What are we missing? How else does Eli win this?
Yeah. And then for the other side too, like how does Olive close out the game as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, from her end, it seems a little straightforward. It's more just how do you do it in a way that doesn't provide an opportunity for Eli to win?
Yeah.
And so we don't have anything like Latias down, which, good.
Yeah.
Don't do that. We see the attach retreat go into Bolt.
Yep, it looks like this is a 3 to take out.
There we go. And we do see Olive take the prize. Oh, Olive goes down to 2 prizes remaining because I've been keeping track. Eli now at 4 prizes, couple duns on the board. And we got to figure out how to reach to take 2 prizes this turn.
Yeah, we need a moon. We need attackers. We need attackers. We need Sada. That's like the big thing.
Yes, and we need to be able to reach. And one thing to know, because I think this is really important, we don't play Briar in Olive's deck.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so I think the 2 big questions are, number 1, can Eli take a knockout this turn?
That's the goal, hopefully. And I mean, we're kind of seeing too with Eli's hand. There's not much he can really thin out of there because there's so many boss's orders in his hand.
I know.
That's the way that he built the deck.
And so if we're able to Sada to 2 Moon and attach an energy to 1, like, that boss is really, really valuable next
Yeah,
turn.
definitely.
But if we can't, it does not matter whatever we do. And unfortunately, well, that Koraidon is really valuable
Definitely.
on that Fez.
Yeah, the Koraidon can definitely do some damage on it.
All right, so we are going to Super Rod and put in Moon Energy. And I feel like we need another energy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so then, Brian, walk me through Eli's turn here. We're obviously going to try to get Moon out. What else are
Yeah.
we doing?
I don't even see a way that he can get Moon out. I don't know. Like I'm looking through his hand. I see like boss's orders, and I saw that Super Rod. I don't think he has many searchers.
I don't think so either. And that's tough, too, because from a resource perspective,
It's like he's not going to be able to attack again. It's like Olive is like on the cusp of winning the game.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so Olive does have to attack twice. But that doesn't matter if Eli can't even take a knockout now.
Definitely.
All right, and so as I mentioned, I did not set a timer under the assumption that it was fine.
Oh, there's the Sada.
I don't know if it was fine, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know if it was either.
All right, so we see 2 Artisans, which is big.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the Koraidon does not let us take a knockout this
It
turn.
does not. There's no ancient attack last turn.
So, with an E-switch,
Yeah.
yeah, and so as Eli is saying, I don't know if you guys can hear me, Eli
Yeah.
said he whiffed the Dunsparce, so there's no way to continue to draw. We can't get that Dunsparce out of the active. I think that might be about all she wrote for Eli
Yeah,
here.
could be. I mean, he really tried.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
And so now the question is, does Olive have an easy response for a knockout?
I don't know. I feel like definitely just because Olive did search out the Sada last turn. Definitely has some pieces to work with here.
We did. And so I think Eli's laughing because of something he saw on the deck. But
Yeah.
there still is a line. There is an opportunity. And for Olive, you're right, Brian. Like, we still have Prime Catcher available.
Yeah.
We still have Sadas
There's
available,
multiple Sadas, and it's like you don't have to worry about drawing into it because the quick search just searches for it.
which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But I guess Eli's just kind of hoping that Olive misses here.
Yeah. Which I highly doubt. Yeah. And it's like you can't even put down the neutralization zone just because. Yeah.
So we can't yet. But now here's the thing. If Olive doesn't have access to the last stadium, like say hypothetically it's the last prize, we could drop this next turn.
That could be true, but there's also another option as well. There always is like Prime Catcher Fan Rotom.
100%.
Yeah.
And if we do just Sada this turn, I think that's what Eli or what Olive is going
Oh,
to
so
want
the
to do.
stadium's there.
Oh, it is? Okay. So
Yeah.
then, I mean, honestly, Olive's just got it, unless I'm
Yeah.
missing something.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
All right, so then watching the rest of this game, so we do see Olive kind of have the pieces. I mean, Pidgeot EX is putting in work in Raging Bolt.
Pidgeot EX really is putting in work.
And so, Brian, why is that something that's getting included in here?
I have no idea. I can't
Okay.
really tell you. Like it's not
That's
something
fair.
it's not something I really
I appreciate the
Yeah.
honesty on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we go in, we do see the knockout. But I have a question. Oh, I guess if we have the stadium, it doesn't matter. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm thinking way too far ahead of myself. But we do
Yeah.
see the Ultra Ball to put the Noctowl into hand. And I mean, Olive's just setting up everything she needs.
Yeah.
And we see the knockout.
Yep.
And we can go up into Dun Dun. Koraidon isn't going to allow us to do any damage. I mean, what else does Eli do here?
Yeah, I don't really know what else there is to do.
All right,
Great Ball.
Great Ball. We maybe see a Moon.
Okay. There's a Dunsparce.
And honestly, I don't think there's a line for Eli.
Yeah.
I think the thing Eli doesn't know is Eli doesn't know whether or not Olive plays another stadium bounce,
Yeah.
or if Olive plays more gust. Because kind of like you said, Fan Rotom is the out to close out the game if that stadium hits the ground.
Definitely.
All right, so then we have the Dun Dun. We're going to try to find either the E switch or another Sada. Moon goes in the active. We have another Dun Dun. I mean, we've got the pieces to attack, but like, I don't even know if we're taking a knockout.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is where we drop the neutralization zone and just hope.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, we saw that prime catcher kind of go.
All right, and so Olive is showing off the prime cat or the Sada there. So Eli's like, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And Eli just slowly debating what to do here. All right, y'all need to move it along. I mean this lovingly to the board. All right. And I mean, we got to drop the stadium.
Yeah.
And so
E-switch.
we do see the E-switch. We can attack. And to be honest, it doesn't matter because if Olive takes a knockout, she wins the game. Okay, we see a boss on Fez. We see the E-switch. We see the knockout. And now all it's going to take is either a gust or the stadium bounce.
There's boss.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's just
There's
going to wrap
boss
it up.
retreat.
Or
boss retreat.
no. Okay, no,
Okay.
we're going about the hard way, Brian.
Okay.
We always want to go about the hard way
Yeah.
for the content, right?
Yeah, for the content. Probably gonna see the Noctowl for the stadium.
I would assume so, or at least an earthen vessel for the last
Yeah.
energy.
There's a stadium.
All right, there we go. And so that is going to be game. And to be honest, they could just end the game.
Yeah.
We could just end the game here. But regardless, we do see the knockdown for the stadium, the energy. We are going to see the knockout by Raging Bolt on the Roaring Moon. And that's going to close it out. Olive is going to go to 5-1 and all but guarantee a spot in the Invitational.
Yeah.
Assuming we're not missing something.
True. And Olive, I told you so.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
And Olive takes the win. So with that, we have kept you all around here for a little bit. So last bit of stuff we want to share with you is number one, we have our Invitational.
Yes, the Invitational, that date, the 22nd of June.
Yes, we had originally posted for the 21st of June. We are going to do Sunday, the 22nd of June. It's going to be an all-day thing. For the people who are attending, we're going to have pizza, trophy, prizing. It's going to be great. And for all of you, you will have us lovely people on here and be able to talk about all the crazy things happening. So, Brian, any shout-outs you want to say before I call it here?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend, Nicole, for watching. And just shout out to everybody for coming out every week and everybody either coming out to play here or to watch. We really appreciate everybody who comes out every week to support us and all of that. So we appreciate the continued support, and we hope to see you guys continue to see us.
And we, like Brian said, really appreciate you all coming out. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. And again, the series has been awesome. We love that you guys have been a part of it, and we hope we get you coming back out on the 22nd for the series. So thank you all for joining. We hope you have a great night, and we'll see you next time here at Nerd Rage Gaming.